Oh no, technical difficulties. What's going on here? Oh boy. Oh, there we go. Okay, I'm live. I'm live now. All right. Oh my god, there's already so many people in the chat here. Wow. Okay. So, let me do this and we could start with Scott here. All right. Oh. All right. You know what? All right, Scott. I'm gonna start here without
Okay.
my other buddy this way. You know, we don't want to. We appreciate. Okay, I'm recording now. So this is something. Even though we're on the record, off the record, whenever someone will say something that either we disagree with or kind of want them to stop saying it or anything, we throw out a.
Shut up, cunt.
Not that I'm gonna do that to you. But I just thought you'd like to know we have that.
That was an amazing night. It's so good.
We have God, we have so many. The sounds are perfect.
Hello, whore. That's another good
Yes.
one. Yeah.
There's and then we just have in season 7, episode 4, a run where Michael C. Hall is imitating. Oh, I forgot his name, but he just goes fuck.
Oh yeah.
I think we did an episode where we just had that for 10 minutes on replay on the background. All right, let me pull up my notes here and then let's get into it here. Okay. There we go. All right, Scott, so I'm just going to introduce you and then we could get into it.
All right. Let's do it.
This is Victor, host of the Dig and Dexter podcast, and today we have a super special guest, writer and executive producer of Dexter New Blood, and again, writer of this episode that you just watched, The Family Business, Scott Reynolds. Scott, on behalf of the Dexter community, thank you for joining us.
Oh man, this is exciting. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Again, Scott also hosts the Dexter Wrap Up podcast. Again, the official podcast of the Dexter series. And Scott, I'm doing this on your behalf, but if you guys watchers of Dexter, there's let's just say a Showtime surprise at the beginning of your episodes, just to sort of get subscribers to Showtime. I don't want to do the official ad, but
Oh yeah.
just
yeah.
want to do it on your behalf. So Scott wrote. Well, Scott, you've been involved with Dexter since we're talking the beginning.
Season 1.
Season 1.
Yeah. I was a writing assistant in season 1.
And now here you are, episode 105 of the Dexter series, The Family.
It's crazy.
So this episode, wow, a little backstory in terms of discussion between you and me. I don't know if you remember. I think I was chasing you around San Diego Comic-Con 2013. You were
Good year.
You maybe just tweeted something out, and I said, Scott, I'm also here, and you were kind enough to be like, hey, meet me at this booth, and then I was too late. I actually got to meet Eric King that day. One of those autographs.
So
A story I always like to.
Were you surprised?
I was surprised, but one of the funniest things was
Motherfucker. Yeah.
one of the funniest things was I'm there, super nerd, and I got all this swag, right? You just grab anything you
Sure.
can there. And I walk up to Eric. He's doing his booth thing, and he just looks at me and he goes, "You got a lot of shit right there." And I was like, "Oh
Yeah.
wow, Eric Dokes just cursed at me. Cool."
That's so Eric. Yeah.
Little known fact that I'm not sure if everyone knows. Scott was stabbed by Dexter in season 7, episode 11. Do you see what I see? There's a montage, which almost ironically enough, this would be the fast forward point, the family business. Scott is the one who is stabbed at the beginning of that episode, but Scott is
not on camera. But Variety took a bunch of photos that day, so I was everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
It was great.
I've heard you talk about this before, about how strenuous, and I feel like most people wouldn't get it. It's even hard for me to comprehend, just sitting there in that plastic, how
oh yeah,
what do you call that? Hard.
Wrapped in saran wrap. Yeah. Yeah, you're wearing like panties, like flesh-colored panties.
Right.
And you step out and you put your hands up and you just start wrapping, and then you lay down on the table and I didn't have any lines like these.
Right.
You know, Clancy. Holy cow!
Were you just sweating the whole time?
No, because stages are cold.
Gotcha. Okay.
So
okay.
You're shrinking. Yeah.
So again, for about a year ago, I wanted to talk to you about that, but then you had said, "Hey, I'm busy right now with New Blood. I want to, if I could promise you anything, how about episode 9?" At the time, I said, "Sure." Particularly, you said episode 9. Obviously, as we got closer, as New Blood is ending, we see that this is your episode, and judging by social media, I kind of felt like you had some extra zing on this episode. Seems like you were very proud of it heading into it. This episode, like I said, if I could throw out the parallels, it kind of feels like seasons 1 through 4 wrapped up in a shell. Just kind of like my notes I've been doing. You kind of have, obviously, the opening. We are back in Miami. I'll just say season 1 area. I don't know exactly the time frame, but then you have, I think, the literal parallel of a burnt cabin, season 2. Also, obviously, the Bay Harbor Butcher stuff going on with Angela. A lot of season 3 with sort of Dexter teaching Miguel the code, and now he's doing the same for Harrison. And then obviously your season 4. Is it fair to say Kurt is maybe somewhat reminiscent to Trinity? And maybe it's just the older man, big guy structure?
Yeah, older man. He's, loved by his community. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Like we wanted an older man for this season. We wanted a father. This whole season is about this competition between these two dads for Harrison's soul,
Right.
So had to be.
And then this episode, you get, I don't know how the writer's room works or whatnot, but you are writing episode 9, and I'm assuming you have some sort of outline of where this episode is. The joy, could you take us through some of the joy, the fun, knowing what felt like to me as a viewer, you got to tie up, like, if the rest of the season was a sort of putting on a shoe, you got this episode and were able to, like, tie the knot on the shoe. The fun, the process of...
And then kick somebody. Yeah. Yeah.
And you sure did. The fun of putting this together, if you could give us some thoughts on that.
Once we sort of realized, the way we break a season is we all sit around and sort of dream big about what this thing could be, because we have to pitch it to the network, of course. But we immediately knew we wanted to try to tell a story about Dexter, always wanting, from the very first season, we know that Dexter wants to be loved, wants to be acknowledged for the quote unquote good he does for the world, and every father, every mother, everyone looks at their child like it's almost like a mirror, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's like the Breakfast Club where Emilio Estevez's dad wants him to be the greatest wrestler ever,
Right.
Dexter's staring at this kid and just longing to be recognized, to be understood, to belong, that the two of them could become something more. It was, we were angling toward this moment of Dexter teaching the code.
Yeah.
Dexter becoming his father, because we all become our father to a certain extent. We all kill our fathers to a certain extent,
Yeah.
So it's all, then you become something better. Who knows? But it's an interesting. It was I don't know. It was fun. It was exciting.
Yeah.
It was. I knew I wanted to do episode 9, and Clyde was like, "Yeah, no, of course, you're writing episode 9. There's no one else that would do it." So that was a good get from Clyde. Yeah, my showrunner.
Yeah,
Clyde
yeah,
Phillips.
Clyde Phillips, showrunner. That writer's room was there. How does that work? Where like you tossed out. I imagine like sort of the breakdown of Dexter telling Harrison. You're 104 episodes walking into 105th
Yeah.
episode of Dexter finally getting to explain it's not Miguel, it's not Lumen, it's not Han. We're talking about
Yeah.
his blood here. Not even Deb, right?
Yeah.
Like he never
Yeah.
did this like he did
Didn't
with
go
Deb.
this deep. He just said, "Dad did this to me." That's about it. Yeah.
Like you said, his own son. Was there ideas sort of tossed around the writers' room, like what was too far? Is this too far for Dexter, or is that something like at first it's like
Yes.
too far, and then you guys realize, hey, that actually does work like that?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we're asking a lot of the audience here to, it's a careful needle to thread of like to get people to agree that this is a good idea. And even when it's happening, you're not sure it's a good idea. This shouldn't feel like a good idea at all.
Right.
But in the same way, like this, I came in with sort of came in with a with this whole idea of Wiggles the clown and Dexter telling it, us getting a chance to go back in time and see old school Dexter do what he wants, do what he does.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I literally like had this sort of vision of it and walked in the room and pitched it out to everybody, and everybody was just like, "Oh, that would be great," because it's also the way we learned to appreciate Dexter, right?
Mm-hmm.
We saw Dexter grab a choir director who was a pedophile, and we watched what he did, and as brutal as if you watch him in that first scene, he's a terrifying serial killer. Dexter is.
Absolutely.
But you're rooting for him, even when he gets the butcher knife and just goes clunk and brings it down onto his head. Yeah. It's shocking, but you're like, yes. Justice. So I knew I wanted to reflect that in some way, because in the same way we introduced Dexter to the world, I wanted Dexter to introduce to his son this sort of like, it's undeniable what he's doing here is right, and so thus, and plus I grew up in Chicago, and Gacy was a terrifying presence, because I'm 52, right?
Mm-hmm.
He was a terrifying presence for us as kids,
right?
Like this specter of this evil clown who captures young men and does unspeakable things. So I knew that's the thing that's always stayed with me. And so I sort of took those two things and pitched it out to the room, and everyone was like, yeah, you know what? But then even then it's the struggle of like, does Dexter say, do I kill him or not?
Yeah.
And, so he just, he laid a trail of breadcrumbs, right? To lead him to ask that question. He's just always hoping, please ask me the question. Say you want to kill with me, please, come on. But he doesn't want to force it.
Yeah.
Because if he forced it, if he just said, hey, join me, do this thing, we'd be like, oh man, you messed up, Dex.
Watching the episode, it's sort of like, oh no, Dex was like, to your point, Dex was right there about to tell him. And if I this is a personal addition I'm adding here. Me personally, I feel like the MVP of the season, and it's funny because I think she also has the least screen time, is the use of Jennifer Carpenter.
She's amazing.
I every episode we've been doing the podcast, I've just been saying Deb is by and far the MVP of this season. She's almost twisted, demented, but she's not Deb. She's whatever we want to call of Dexter. I think I lost my train of thought of what exactly I wanted to say, but I guess I just wanted to say Jennifer Carpenter.
No, she is the MVP. Yeah. Because and it's just the right amount. I know there's been some people who've been like, man, there should be more Deb. And like, if there's too much of her saying you shouldn't do this, or always questioning him, we as viewers will start to turn on her, because we side with Dexter. Right? He, from the very beginning, he's been telling us these sort of like unreliable narrator stories,
right?
And we've been there, and we're just as culpable for what he's doing.
Yeah. I think that's what I meant to say. Is it was a nice way to say at the beginning, hey, Dexter couldn't go all the way, and Deb is just like that angel or maybe devil on the shoulder. Like, and I think there is a scene, and forgive me, I can't actually recall it, where it's literally a 4 to 5 second scene where they just cut to where Dexter is, and Deb is just there, like, doesn't even speak, just is there.
On the back.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was her. That was on the day. I gave some lines for her to say, and she said, "Scott, trust me, I can just."
Oh, really?
I can give this small look, and it's gonna work. And I was like, okay. Words are so good, The writer's always like, no, say the words. But she totally Steve McQueened it.
Yeah.
And did that little, like, please don't.
Yeah.
It was when Dexter and Harrison are sitting on the back of the truck.
And they're in the drone. Okay. Yeah.
And he's like, so how do you?
Uh-huh.
Justice would be something else, wouldn't it?
Right.
And then Dexter's like, he wants it. And you could feel, if you go back and watch the scene again, you could feel Michael just putting out this, like, oh man, I want to tell you everything so bad, but he's trying to do it right. That angel devil of Deb on his shoulder is holding back the reins a little bit. Yeah, she was right. Afterwards, I walked up, was like, yeah, you were right. That was great.
That must be.
She did do a take with the words.
That must be really cool, where the actor or actress you're working with is somehow able to supersede what you honed and crafted and put out as your baby, and then they just come along and it's like, look, I got this. This is better.
Yeah, I just watch my eyes. I mean, that's Michael same way. A lot of times he'll be like, I think I could do that with a look, and I'm like, all right, let's get it, and then let's get it with the look, and then I'll be like, yeah, that you nailed it. That was better.
Scott, I know for us, it's like, depending where you are, we're about a half hour away from airing time, but the way we're doing the new season, we're 20 something odd hours. Is this the proudest you've been? And again, it may be too early because, you kind of maybe need some time for it to set in, but I don't know if I want to say the proudest episode you've written or the greatest joy, most pleasure, hardest. Like, are any of that stick with you in this episode?
I am. I feel like this episode, we were talking earlier a little bit about this, but like, this is like my love letter to Dexter Morgan, to his journey, to our journey as viewers, So it felt really good. I am very proud of it. I've been a part of some really great episodes, but like this episode, for some weird reason, maybe it's the 9-year break in between.
Sure. But
it felt right. Everything just felt like it was where it should be. So yeah, I'm very proud of it.
And you should be. I have one of the fans, listeners of the podcast, that we talk after every episode. It's almost right about 12:50 a.m. We know we just both finished the episode, and we just, oh my God, what's this? Did you read this? Whatever. And we both had the same messages to each other. I think I just watched the best Dexter episode I've ever seen. I need time to digest it, but everything. And then we go through everything, But here I am 24 hours later or whatever. I still feel the same way. And I am, as big as, listen, I've dedicated 105 episodes to this show talking about it. Not that you need to know this. I did a 6 Feet Under podcast. Personally, I'm a little sick of Michael C. Hall's face. Great all around, so just, I feel like just to let you know, obviously, as the writer of this episode. Last thing about Kurt's lair in this episode.
Which you are in the middle of right now.
I'm actually here. What people don't know is I'm sitting in Kurt's lair. This lair, it's hard to get creeped out in 2021. If you're a certain age, you've watched so much stuff and whatnot.
Yeah.
I was legitimately creeped out in this lair. If was filming that lair creepy, like just those, I don't know how many behind the scenes you want to reveal of just like, are those women actually there? They're obviously not really dead, but and then second question, was this a nod to Return to Oz, that movie?
Funny. No, it wasn't. Yeah,
similar, but doesn't necessarily have to be.
Yeah, I didn't never put that together. If anything, I talk about this on my podcast, the Wrap Up podcast. But it's sort of there's a visual from this Bela Lugosi Boris Karloff movie called The Black Cat.
Okay.
This sort of comes from. It's this beautiful 68-minute long movie that will stay with you forever. It's great.
Mm-hmm.
But first question, shooting inside this thing. Yeah, no, it was, we're returning in a lot of ways. We cycle back to a lot of things in this episode. We start this episode, Dexter and Harrison. We start in the beginning with a story that may or may not be completely true. As fathers, there's several moments where Dexter doesn't tell the whole truth. I don't know if you caught a lot of these moments. Like one of them happens inside this Kurt's lair.
Mm-hmm.
But we start in Miami, and then suddenly we're sitting at the fireplace, right?
Right.
We end with Kurt inside the fire, and then his fireplace is gone, right?
Yeah.
And then this place, it's a storage container,
right?
Which he dropped down underground, and Dexter just sort of can't escape these things,
right?
These places,
Yeah.
And this is Harrison's, second origin story is happening sort of inside of this
another shipping
storage
container, right?
Yeah, another shipping container. Yeah. And then putting making sure the makeup was right, and sort of going for that sort of like waxy,
right,
Tomb of Lenin sort of look
mm-hmm.
for all the women, and making it look real but still kind of beautiful, because if it looks terrible, then that's not living up to what Kurt is wanting here.
Right.
It really did feel like there's this great cloud of witnesses that are just watching what's happening,
looking at him,
watching justice happen inside of it. Yeah, it was creepy, especially in the script I had written that as Harrison moves forward, there's like motion sensors that like turn each thing on.
Yeah.
Our art department added the lights inside the crates, that enhanced it and made it scary. Like I watched with my wife this morning, and she gasped when we saw what Harrison saw.
Yeah.
And it's weird because normally in these scenes, am I talking too much? I don't know.
No.
Normally in these
Scott,
scenes,
you could talk all day.
Normally in these scenes, we're watching Dexter experience these things. And in this episode, Dexter is the viewer in the same way that we are. So he's watching his son and hoping that he can, this is the final page that he's guiding. Dexter didn't expect to see a bunch of women inside of here.
Right.
He thought he'd see, clothes or, something. So it was a little shocking to him, but really he couldn't accept the full shock of it all, because he's watching his son and hoping that his son will turn and say, this guy deserves to die. That he'll come to the same conclusion,
Yeah.
So it's like this really weird emotional moment, and it's a terrifying moment, and it's, disgusting and sick.
Yeah.
And, depraved what this man has, done. But we're watching in the same way Dexter's watching and going, is Harrison going to finally say, do it?
Right. And a great moment when it does come, right? Like the all right, I'm on board. Almost. And
then he kisses him, it's like
the kiss on the forehead. Yes.
Yeah. But that's where Dexter tells another sort of, an outwardly unreliable narrator moment when he says to Harrison, I killed Wiggles and I took care of Trinity for what he did to your mother.
Mm-hmm. Right. It's
which isn't right, because his mother he didn't know. But we do, we tell these stories to ourselves, and then, or we tell stories to other people to help them come over to our side.
Yeah.
He can't say I killed Trinity and then and then came home and found out you were dead.
Can't explain it, right?
Yeah, he flipped this narrative in order to win his son over, which is very human.
Sure, of course.
It's we're always writing that line of like Dexter the psychopath and Dexter the human, and I don't know.
No, it's
I love that moment. Michael even in that moment was just like, that's not what really happened. I was like, I know, right? Like, it's like you're winning over your son. He's like, oh yeah, that's great. Okay,
yeah,
it's good.
No, that moment is Harrison obviously wasn't around for the first 3 seasons, right? But it does feel like again, I probably said this a couple times already, but like a 104 episode build-up to get there. And something that you did on this episode that, to my memory, I don't recall it happening. But again, if we go back to earlier old school Dexter, we're actually seeing the bone saw I can't ever recall Dexter doing it in front of anyone.
That was another thing I really wanted to do in this episode. I wanted to, like, this time we really are going to see it. We're gonna show something gross and horrible. Because now our job isn't watching Dexter. Our job is watching Harrison and how he's responding. You know? Again, my wife, when she was watching, she was like, "Oh my God, what is that? Ah, that's horrible." I was like, "I know, isn't it?" Because we've shielded that from you all these years.
Of
you
course.
Know? There's like one, I can't remember what episode it was, but it was like Dexter grabbed a leg and it slipped out of his hands, and it was done for like comedic effect. In the first 4 seasons.
I want to say it's season 4, episode 1, when he kills Benny Gomez, and he's sort of really tired, and he's like hurrying up.
Yes.
I want to say.
Yes,
but
it is.
Top. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's like the closest we got to that sort of, gory.
Yeah.
But Marcos, I just said, I want to feel very experiential. I want to feel like Harrison's point of view, soaking in all these things, and be very careful about what's the tipping point for him in that scene, the blood coming toward him and all of that. But yeah. No. It's also kind of funny.
Hey, after all that, the chopping bodies. Yeah, it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
So
he's just going. Normally I chop him into 9 parts.
Yeah, he's explaining
talking about it like
the way you would do an oil change on your car or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you just turn this thing here, and yeah. Because he's that, he just doesn't. He's so used to this thing. He has no idea.
Right. Again, Scott, I appreciate you coming on. Amazing insight into the episode. Again, I'll repeat it again. Like, as a big of a Dexter fan as I am, like I said, I'm still processing it. I feel like I need time to do my fan top episode, but it definitely, at the very least, it's right up there. I want to get you out on this note. We were sort of crowdsourcing. We have season 1. We get the Ice Truck Killer, right? Brian Moser. We got the Bay Harbor Butcher. We have the Skinner. We got Trinity Killer. I want to say the Barrel Girls, but I don't think we ever got a name for Jordan Chase. But DDK, the Brain Surgeon. Unfortunately, we don't have a name for Clancy Brown, a.k.a. Kurt Caldwell. So what I wanted,
press doesn't know about him yet. Yeah.
So what I wanted to know, and I guess let me ask you here, and feel free to not answer. Do we get a name in the next episode, or? Fair enough. So let me throw out some for you, and you tell me.
I love it.
You tell me what yes or no, maybe, if you want to rate them, however you want to do it. The Snow Hunter.
I like. Yeah, that sort of comes from. His roots are that Robert, dang, I just forgot his name. He's a guy that would bring women up he'd fly them up to Alaska.
Yes, I know what you're talking about.
And
I forget the name.
Do horrible things, and then suddenly one day he just let them free, and then he'd hunt them.
Was that his nickname? I guess that's why that was suggested. The Snow Hunter.
No, it wasn't.
He was called something. The Runaway Killer.
I love it. Yeah. It's
fitting.
The song and everything, like yeah, when the cops come in and they find that record.
Ski Mask Killer.
It's okay.
Again, these are crowdsourced. I'll let you know which one's mine.
Yeah.
I like this one here, Frosty the Trophy Man.
And it fits the holiday spirit. Yeah.
I like this one too. This is I think I got this one from Reddit. The Ice Truck Stop Killer. The Lot Lizard Killer.
Yeah.
This is my favorite, and someone may have suggested it, or I just came up with it on my own. I honestly don't remember. And then credit.
I'm gonna go with it. You came up with it.
I came up with it. No one else influenced me here. Kurt the Krusty Krab Killer, and that's with an A, not an ER. It has to end with an A.
I'm gonna share a drawing on Twitter on Tuesday that one of our PAs drew that will make you happy. that she was an incredible artist, and she drew something that gave me so much joy. And I was like, I'm gonna share it on Tuesday. It's gonna be great. Yeah.
Awesome. So Scott, once again, thank you. again, I could throw out as much as claims for Scott, but again, he is writer on episode 9, The Family Business, executive producer of Dexter New Blood. He also hosts the official Showtime Dexter Wrap Up podcast. Honestly, great podcast. Throwing in my little 2 cents here. I was not in love with Molly Parker. Molly Park or Molly Parker?
Molly Park.
Molly Park, Jamie Chung. And after I listened to your interview with her, which a portion of it had nothing to do with Dexter, just her background, I all of a sudden liked her character. It was like a switch. I've rarely had that happen in interviews, and that was just a great.
That's great.
Yes.
she's something special. She's so likable. It's great. Yeah.
So again, every week, Scott Reynolds does the Dexter Wrap Up podcast, and definitely tune in because there's some great behind the scenes stuff. And just if you're like me, I love the behind the scenes, just hearing the little, just kind of like what you told us in this episode, this little session here. So Scott, once again,
this week we have Clancy Brown, the Krusty Krab killer himself. He will be on the show, and then I talk with Marcos and Hillary, director and DP, and because normally I have the writer on, but it's me.
So Scott's interviewing Scott.
Making of it. Yeah. So it's really one of my favorite episodes. It's really, really good.
Yeah.
And there's a little talk about the finale too, without no spoilers.
Yep. We're all very interested, anticipating, and waiting, and I guess 7 days can't get here fast enough. Scott, thank you again. Happy New Year. We sincerely appreciate you joining us, and I don't know what to say.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
This was great.
Thank you so much, Scott. You have a good night.
You too.
Bye.
Take you later.
Shit. That was awesome. You there, Colton?
Yeah. Jesus fucking Christ.
Oh,
you don't understand how bad my stomach feels. I'm like, Victor's gonna never let me record with him ever again because the single biggest moment in his entire career is happening right now, and I can't get my fucking computer. I can't talk to Scott, so I'm pissed off at myself right now. I'm trying to get Zoom turned on right now so you can see how red I am, even though I'm in a room by my fucking self. How embarrassed I am for being late. So what is going on? I'm so sorry.
So listen. let me tell you this honestly. Once we started, I was like, don't even get on, because I was in such in a zone that I didn't want to like mess it up. So it's like, if once you didn't show up, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna do this and get through it. I couldn't. Are you still there? Oh, Colton's not even here. Yo, Colton.
I'm here. Hey, I'm there.
Whoa.
I'm here.
I gotta lower you somewhere.
Sorry. Wait.
I gotta lower
Hold
you.
on. I'm hearing.
Mute me on Zoom.
I'm trying to do it right now. Mute myself.
There you go. That should work, right? Hello. All right, I got to look at the chat here. Good God. Guys, I don't even know how to let me try and address the chat here. Oh boy. Let me see here. Man, sorry guys, I'm just reading the chat here.
Okay, can you hear me?
I can hear you. You can't hear me?
No, I can hear you. It's I don't know. I'm not even on my normal computer. I'm having to be on my backup computer because I can't get my normal computer to work.
So
is my audio okay, or is it like not working?
It's doubling, so just maybe mute yourself on Zoom.
That's the problem. When I try to mute myself on Zoom, then it's like you can't hear me. It's like it's muting my entire microphone, my entire audio. Then hold on, let me try to get this figured out.
I'm gonna talk.
You can go ahead. Like, look through the chat for a little bit, and I'll yeah.
So let me talk to the chat here. I ignored the chat the entire time. I did not want to slip up with Scott, but holy crap, that was a. There's so much stuff I wanted to say to him, and I told him the whole time it would only be 15 minutes. He was incredibly gracious of obviously giving us a lot more than 15 minutes. The moment he said, "Am I talking too much?" I was like, wow, he's truly passionate about what he's doing, and it's so awesome. He just like kept going. I think it was, again, it's just like I said this in the episode. I think it's just a vibe I got from him, social media this week, of how proud he was of this episode, and I feel like it's warranted. Yeah, I'm still coming down from a little bit of a, I don't want to say a high, but just like a how open he was and kind of stuff, like something I didn't even notice, that like when he says I killed Trinity because he killed your mother, I didn't even realize that that's not true. Like in my head it's true, and that's kind of the way I will look back and remember it, but like, yeah, when he killed Trinity he didn't know. Yeah, that was just one of the coolest things ever, and I can't believe how gracious and he was with his time. All right, where are you at, Colton?
I don't know.
It's
every time I'm trying to mute it.
Hold on.
I'm sorry.
Go to your settings and go to monitor disable, because that sometimes will echo you.
My settings on the computer?
On Zencaster, my apologies. On the Zencaster website.
Okay. Monitor, you said disable?
Yeah, is it on disable already?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Well,
it's, I don't know what it is. It's when I hit mute on Zoom, it's muting my entire system.
Okay, so this is what you got to do. When you go to on that little arrow next to the microphone, it's going to have select a speaker. Maybe you could select a different speaker that the audio's coming out from.
Okay, let me try that. What do I sound like now?
You're echoing.
Hold on, let me try one other thing. Hold on.
I think I blacked out a little bit as Scott was talking. Colton is muted in my Zoom in the chat, guys. So I'm not. Let me see here. Participants. Oh, let me. I see. I hear what you're saying. Colton, talk again. So, you could hear me?
Oh, hold on. There. Here. Sorry.
Oh, because I muted you in. What's your Well, look, then if anything, if we have to get this going, or maybe join Zencaster at your cell phone or something.
Let me try one thing. Hold on. Three apps using your microphone. Hold on. Do this. Hold on. I got an idea.
You got Scott on your podcast, so the universe needs to mess with Colton's audio to balance it out. I'm trying.
I'm
Let
trying.
me see if it's. Oh boy.
Okay, so Teams, Skype, meetings is currently in use. I was gonna say I was trying to disable it for Zoom. Oh, that's video. Oh my god, hold on. I'm sorry, man. Hold on.
I'm gonna take a 2-minute break. No, I'm not sure what it is on Colt. I think it's something on his end because even when he mutes the Zoom, it ends up muting his whole system. So I think if anything, Colton maybe join us on Zoom via cell phone. Derek, how do you change that? Because I feel like that's what's happening to Colton here. Guys, I'm gonna take a 2, and then we'll figure out life. All right. I can't hear you, Colton.
I think I have an idea. Hold on. Hold on 1 second.
I can't hear you. Oh, sorry.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. You're still echoing.
That makes no sense to me. That makes no sense that I'm echoing because. Okay, give me a minute then. I gotta get some stuff done for that. Hold on.
Well, I am now interviewing Mr. Wiggles. Well, if anyone's still here in the chat, it's hard to keep focus while doing an interview with the writer of the episode. I'm assuming I think he did say some good stuff, and again, stuff I didn't. I didn't ponder. I think I'd have to go back and listen to myself. Yeah. So I guess I'll repeat this on the podcast because it'll actually get out there. I think I lowered my mic too much. But I think I've gotten some submissions for what we think happens in the finale, and if you want to resend them, because we got episode 9 and everything that happened, so feel free to resend them. Like I said, I've gotten a few submissions. Thank you, Dylan. I know you sent one. I did not listen to it yet. I just got the email. Yeah, I think I tweeted it, but I was a little scared to go full board. Oh my God, we got Scott Reynolds because he said he may be running a little late, and I didn't want to pressure him. So I kind of just let it out there, and if anything, it's a surprise for the podcast listeners. Deadline for submissions, I want to say it's like Saturday, because I need time to go ahead and edit and clip everything. So yeah.
You can hear me, right?
I can hear you, yeah.
Okay. No echo.
No echo.
Okay.
Don't worry, Brianna. I don't think he watched the chat. I think he found out on the spot I was live streaming it, and I think he was okay with it, obviously, because if not, I would have not aired it. So I asked him with his permission if he was okay.
So stupid.
It's honestly it's fine, and honestly, I think there was like he was talking too much, which was a great thing. That I feel like me and you would have been like too crowded. You know what I mean? So I honestly think it worked out in the end.
No, I feel stupid for missing it. I feel stupid for recording with my phone like an amateur. Goddamn jackass is what I am right now. Okay. And I'm doing it sober because I had to be sober for this guy because I'm so nervous talking to him. I didn't even get to talk to him.
That is so funny.
Sorry, guys, in the chat. For whoever's in the chat, you're getting to see the most frustrated Colton kids.
Oh man. It's all good, man. I know I know the feeling of like being late and like missing and like trying to figure out your shit on the fly, but I think for Scott's purpose, and again just the fact he would come on this stupid podcast was good enough. I'll edit you in at some point. Just saying. We still don't know it's Kurt, Scott.
I can get some reactionary stuff going. That's awesome that you were doing that. It's like I totally was interviewing him. Yeah.
Oh man.
So note to self: whenever I interview in Hollywood to be a writer, don't interview with Scott because he's gonna be like, "Wait, that's the guy that completely missed our meeting.
Yeah.
Fuck that jackass."
Did you hear the beginning of the podcast when I played for him the "Shut Up, Cunt"?
No.
So, dude, I told him I was like, "Hey."
I came in on you talking to him about your meeting at Comic-Con. That's when I came in. Then I came in again a little bit later on some other stuff, and then I came in again at the very end. And that was when I was like, "Don't even say a word. Like, just."
Thank you for that, and I'm not being sarcastic because you just would have like jumped in. I would have like introduced you and everything. So again, no sarcasm. Thank you for that. So I think I think I was telling. I'm not sure if I put it in the podcast part or not, but I was just like, "Hey Scott, I just want to let you know when someone says something we don't agree with, whatever," and I played it, and he started laughing hysterical. But then something he said that I wasn't even expecting. He's like, "Yeah, that's a good one," or you should play "Hello Whore." And I was like, "Oh man." It's just like funny, like getting it from this source, you know.
That's really good.
1 second, I think I have to restart Zencaster, but nothing should change on your end. Let me try this here. I think I just have to reload Zencaster. All right, you're there?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Colton can have a drinky, right?
Yeah.
At this point.
I'm actually going to grab one too.
Okay. Oh. Hello, chat. Oh my gosh. Let me see what everybody was talking about. I'm going to relive this vicariously through everybody. Hey, Jen. Kurt isn't a killer. He still isn't doll maker. That guy, I'm 100% on board with that. We literally have no proof at this point, so. Jacob bragging about being right about the tag team kill. I have some notes on that actually, Jacob. So some good stuff. And who was it? Was it Jen that said in our Facebook page, the doll killer, right? Or the doll? What did she call him in our Facebook page?
The doll
The doll
maker or
maker.
something.
Yeah, and when I saw this, I was like, Jen. I think Jen's getting episodes early, and she's just not telling us. Just saying, she's been hiding out.
Dead crates. What do you mean by that, Roxanne? The dead crates.
Oh, it's like you're backwards. Like he killed you, and then he was like, oh, I really don't like to look at this guy, so he's like backwards. He's just staring at the back of your head every time he got. Here's my mistake.
All right, let's finally start this here. All right, we are recording on Zencaster now.
Shut up, cunt.
All right, we're good. All right, wow. Okay, ready? This is Victor, and now that we've exchanged Christmas gift traditions of ugly Christmas sweaters, I am joined by Colton. Colton, happy 2022.
Happy 2022, seriously.
What?
What?
We are here to discuss episode 9 of Dexter New Blood, the family business. Couple things clearing house before we get into the episode. Honestly, at this point, I have no idea where I'm editing in our award-winning interview with the writer of this episode, Scott Reynolds. This may be before I'm talking right now, maybe after the episode. I have no idea. But we did.
Such a great interview. Such a great. Victor did a great job. It was so nice being in the presence of all of that the entire time. So nice.
Join the stream if you want to know what Colton's talking about. One.
I mean, you can hear it in the podcast. We were there. It was. You just had to be there for it.
We have been getting some submissions for our finale predictions. If you have sent them already, feel free to resubmit because I appreciate you guys sending them. But we got a lot of stuff that happened in this week's episode, so feel free to resubmit. Again, a few of you have sent them already. I'm assuming I'll send out a T-shirt of sorts. So again, feel free to submit. You got to be specific. If you're not specific enough, I can't really attribute it. You know, if you just say Dexter dies, cool, but you're going to have 18 other people who are saying the same thing. So, you know, by who does it? How does Dexter die? Does Harrison die?
I saw a tweet about a cool Dexter spoiler, and I'm sorry if this is going to be a Dexter spoiler, but I really don't consider it. It just said, I've seen the last episode, and I can tell you right now, it's the ending that we've all been anticipating and they've been hinting at. And I'm like, that is the most vague shit that you could responsibly or irresponsibly tweet out. It means nothing.
I don't even know what they mean by that. Like, I don't even know what the
exactly.
I don't even know what the yeah.
It got posted on Reddit. I saw it on another thread because I'm trying not to follow the Dexter stuff.
Mhm.
But I saw that and I was like, let me see this. And it literally says something along those lines. Like, it was the most vague thing I have ever said. I was like, this person probably hasn't watched any of this season. They just want to get the retweets out there. And
Right,
that's
right.
it. Russian probe.
So to get to this episode, something I wanted to kind of throw out there, I guess as we do every week, Just a, how do I say this? A quick, brief overview on your quick thoughts and hits from Colton Duffy on what he thought of this episode. Good episode, bad episode. Where do you lie with it?
I actually lie in two different camps on this one. You and me were briefly talking earlier today. You were asking where I put this episode, and I think my wording, and I was about to text it to you, but I didn't, was if you were in high school and you were like sitting there getting ready to apply for colleges, you wouldn't get into an Ivy League school, but you would get into a top tier state school. That was how I like placed this episode. Like, it was pretty good, but it wasn't like phenomenal. I say that though, rewatched it again today because you were telling me about your opinions on it. And I was like, let me rewatch it with a little bit of a different mindset, with the podcaster mindset of I'm going to sit here, take notes and stuff like that. Completely changed my mindset on this one. I'm actually now I don't know if I want to put this as the number one episode that I've ever seen, but I will easily say top 3 of all time. Maybe but 1 or 2, maybe. I still don't know if I could say number 1 though, but easily top 3 spot. Like it's getting a medal if it was at the Olympics. 100%.
Right. I again, I may be repeating myself here, but after the episode ends, usually me and Jen in the chat will message, talk about the episode, and it was like my gut reaction. I was sort of completely floored at how good this episode was. Like I was telling Scott, I am still trying to debate if this was the best Dexter episode ever, which almost completely contradicts how I felt last week, where I was almost down on the series, New Blood. And then I feel like this episode, just all those loose ends. There's still some out there, don't get me wrong, but just felt so well done. So I am obviously in the camp of, again, debating if this is, when you put the classic best Dexter episodes, you have somewhere, and I forget the episode towards the end of season 2, you have the Getaway season 4 finale, the pilot or the finale of season 1. Regardless, I do think this sits up top there. So like you said, if it's not the best, maybe it's somewhere around there. So it's cool that we
No, it's just so, it's just so hard to be episode 1 of season 1. But it's also not a fair comparison, I feel like.
Right.
That's my thing, and I think that's what I don't like, is I'm trying to compare it to something that I don't think is necessarily fair.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that's all I can say.
Well, let's get into the actual episode where we start. We are, again, I'm not 100% sure of the time frame. Actually, can I go back a second? My apologies. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you've heard me say this already, but to me, part of the reasons why this episode to me was like top tier, I felt like this episode was a combo of seasons 1 through 4. Did you hear me say that to Scott, or am I repeating myself here?
Yes.
And then again,
I did hear that, yeah.
Just to the podcast listener, like season 1, we have the obviously callback when we start the episode that we're back in Miami, early classic Miami, Dexter with the stalking and the kill. In regards to season 2, you have the cabin burn-in as well as the Bay Harbor butcher stuff in general. The season 3 vibes with Dexter teaching Harrison the code, much like showing Miguel. And then with Kurt being similar to Trinity in stature and age, coupled with Harrison born in blood, season 4. So you just have this like combo episode of just smashing in, Dexter seasons 1 through 4. And I think I felt that all during the episode. I'm just like, oh man, this is like season 1. This is like season 2. And then like I want to say, actually, now that I go back and look at it, I feel like there's more season 3 with Miguel in this episode than anything. Just the explanation of the code and stuff. You know what I mean? And again, we could talk about it as the episode goes on.
Yeah, I definitely had some notes on some of it because I didn't catch, I guess, like that like what you were saying, what you were telling Scott, like it was kind of like a love story, or Scott was saying about that. It was just like this was his like love story to Dexter, and I didn't catch some of that at first. I was like, huh. And so when I rewatched it again, I was like, oh shit. I was like, okay, there's definitely some nice little throwbacks. Season 1 here, season 2, season 3, season 4. I was even getting a little bit after that, which I could also just be thinking some of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But there was definitely a lot of like nudge, nudge, wink, wink to the fans in this, which I thought
Definitely.
was fun. Like, and one of my favorite lines is like it is in this one because it connects to season 1. And we'll get to that in a minute. But when he like says this one line, I was just like, I didn't even catch that the first time, which I feel like a idiot for not catching it. But yeah, and I'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah. Oh God, I just lost my train of thought of what you were just saying something, and I was just gonna say, and I completely forgot it. So never fucking mind. Our episode starts out with Dexter in Miami at an undisclosed time. I'm putting this at about season 1-ish, whether it's before or after. Oh, God, do we have to exit the Zoom? This is so annoying.
Why?
Because I think Scott was in it, and for 3 people, it's a 40-minute time limit.
Oh, no.
Oh, God. Fuck me. All right, I have to. God, this is so annoying.
I was gonna say we're gonna go over 40 minutes in this episode, man. I already know.
No, I have a 10-minute counter starting right now, so we're by
Oh.
yeah. All right.
All right, let's go.
Stay,
Let's go. So then Dexter can.
Okay. I'm gonna stop Zencaster just so I don't have a huge time gap. I'm gonna stop. God. You know what's funny? We got so many people probably watching this because of Scott's appearance, and we are just losing people by the wayside. All right, I'm going to close Zoom, and then I'm going to invite you back in.
Listen to this podcast. I promise people, we're professionals.
Actually, we're not. Let me end this here, and I'm going to send you a link.
All right.
Oh, man, how annoying. We're still here, guys. We're still here. Okay. All right. I think I could send you the link. Oh, no. No, I didn't want to do that. Close. Okay. I think I can invite you through Zencaster. Oh, I have to email it to you, right? Because you're on your phone?
Yeah.
Okay, not a problem. Oh, man. All right, I just emailed it to you. Jacob, that's season 3. You ever have everything go perfect and there's a montage of kills and one is Dexter at a carnival? That was I think he killed a carny at the beginning of season 3. If I'm understanding you correctly of what you guys are talking about. You there, Colton?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
I'm gonna mute my audio 1 second. Okay. Can I? One second. I'm about to try to get crazy. One second. Oh no.
No, Jacob, what you're thinking about in the beginning of season 6, you ever have everything go perfect? He kills the 2 paramedics. And he does the superhero thing where he cross arm. Is what you're thinking about, Jacob. The only time we saw Dexter close to a carnival was the beginning of season 3. He kills the carny and whatnot. I feel like I impressed Scott at one point when I called out when he dropped a body part or whatever. So
I kind of got a background now.
mute something. Mute your So Victor question: who do you think is the most successful serial killer Dexter went up against in terms of longevity and the number of victims, Kurt or Trinity? Well, I feel like we got a.
Wait.
Go ahead.
What do I get? Does my audio sound weird?
Yeah. Can you mute your phone? Your phone audio?
I muted it. Do you need it? Is it on yours? Because you restarted Zoom. Did you mute?
Oh, good point. No, you're. Oh, hold on. Mute you. Okay, talk.
There we go. Better.
Okay, yeah. Oh, that guy. That's a great question. I feel like we know more about Trinity, but Kurt seems to have been doing this a long fucking time, and but Trinity's like 30 years. Well, God, yeah. What is Kurt? 25 years.
I think Trinity's probably killed more people, but I really don't.
Yeah,
know.
I'm trying
That's
to
a good
think.
question.
Successful.
I mean, I'd say
Trinity
Kurt's more
killed in.
successful. He hasn't had to move.
Trinity killed in threes. Man, this is like who would you rather have? Fucking LeBron James or Michael Jordan or something like that. That guy, that's a great question, but we need to get on with this podcast. And also, you weren't here. You weren't here last week, so fuck you. All right, Colton, ready?
Yeah.
All right, we're back again. Start of the episode. Our episode starts out at an undisclosed time, and I think we're in that season 1 territory. Dexter doing a classic stalk and kill on Mr. Wiggles. And then I don't know, I forget the time frame, what the terminology here is, but he's sort of like breaking the fourth wall. I don't know if that's what it is, but like when he's kind of, you think he's
the voiceover.
He's the voiceover, but his voiceover is also talking to Harrison, but he's also will stop mid scene and like talk to us, but he's actually talking to Harrison. You know, I don't know.
Like, what is it he says
dimensions.
At one point, like he's like something like whatever. He's like got the guy, the clown tied down, and he's like, "I didn't do it" or something like that. He's like, "They always say that."
They always say, yeah, but he like looks at us, yeah. And you know what was cool too? And I didn't even realize this, and until I go to, in the top right of our stream here, I take a few screenshots from the episode just to refresh people if they're watching, and I didn't even realize that the aspect ratio on the episode changes. So the episode starts out, it's full 920 by 1080. When they go to New Blood current day, it goes to like letterbox. It's a cool, and it's just like really putting you in where we are, you know, 2000 something versus 2021. Kind of like you were saying, the voiceover is witty. I think just like this whole tone is season 1. I feel like even the way like Dexter, his voice just has like more of that season 1 tone to it. They're obviously playing the Daniel Licht music. They're going sort of like playing the hits of season 1 and 2. So that guy just said this in the chat, and it's something I didn't have in my notes. Did you see the Joker, for Joaquin Phoenix movie?
As the first time I watched it, and I kind of got a little bit annoyed at first because of that. I was like, I really kind of feel like y'all are kind of stealing a little bit of this. Then when I watched it the second time, I was like, you know what? This is more just, I can't get that. It's a creepy clown. Then I mean, at that point, I guess say, well, did you steal this from it? Do you steal this from, I was really kind of trying to catch myself on being like that hard on it. Because it is different. It's different, but it's definitely like reminiscent. I would say that.
Yeah. I think, obviously, you talk about clowns. You're going to go to Joker, It. The only part where I think they're really trying to nail that point home, but again, this episode almost has nothing to do with Mr. Wiggles, as more Mr. Wiggles as an idea, like an abstract idea. It's just the scene when he's in the mirror doing the makeup. That's like a shot-for-shot recreation of the Joker. And then just the way he's explaining the code, you know, I feel like we've lost that sort of Dexter stalking over the course of 105 episodes. I feel like we lost that, and it was just like so cool to like reintroduce us to the code and like how it's supposed to go and everything. We don't even like season 8 we talked about. We don't get like the cool stalking and the fun part of it. It was just kind of like there, you know.
Yeah.
And then I like the cheeky fun stuff like we get here. Like a soft reset. And again, a tribute episode to Dexter as a whole. So this is, if you're going to have a tribute episode, you got to have something like this to reset us.
And it was nice because I had mentioned this before, and I said this to you in the text message when I was some like questions to ask Scott. You know, it was nice having not Angela, sorry, Angel on. It was nice having Angel on a couple episodes ago. It's like, oh, cool, you're kind of tying in, like, hey, remember how this used to be? Remember how Dexter was? This is a cool character from the past and stuff like that. This episode starts. They have the music that corny Dexter TV show.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Miami. We have to have this Latin, like,
Yeah.
nonchalant music in the background. It's sunny. Like, you can see in my thing. It's sunny. This isn't like a set. This isn't just like, oh, we're in a set and we're going to say we're in Miami. Like, you feel like I'm walking in, and as I was when I was in Miami, I started sweating under my boobs, and I was just like, I'm in Miami. Like, this is cool. This is a care, because, and you and Marissa had said this in the first season, that they make Miami a character,
Right?
And it was cool seeing that. Like, this little shot right here was one of the best parts of this episode to me. I don't know what it was. It was it was colorful. It wasn't this dead snow. It was awesome. Like, I loved this. This was so cool that they had it. Just so nice.
And part of the reason why I think this episode got us back on track during the New Blood season is I think we get a lot of good Deb this episode. And she was missing, you know, she was not as prevalent and prominent the past 2 episodes or so. And this week she's back. Kind of like I was talking with Scott, just even like sometimes she just shows up and just gives like a head nod. But even like here, again, well, I don't even know what dimension we're in here, but like there's a time where like Dexter's going to like stab him and Deb is the one who says no. So it's almost like if he stabs him during the story, that means he's telling Harrison. But like we're talking about a recreation of a story, and a ghost dead sister is the one who's stopping him. Like we are in like the 8th dimension of something. But overall, Deb being back, I think, is a big positive for this episode.
She brings a lot of emotions in this. A lot of emotion is brought in by her. Like, it's really good. It's really nice having her in.
And then, like, Dexter, I think, finally cuts to the core. And so, something we've been talking about this whole season, right? It's like, can't Dexter and Harrison just finally talk already? And, like, here we just finally get Dexter just, you know, point blank. If you cut away all the conversations they have, Harrison, why are we like this? Our mothers were born in blood. Like, finally, Harrison doesn't have to feel so lonely. And, you know, we're really going to talk about how Dexter really lets him know, like, he ain't by himself here. But, you know, finally, we get that relation. And
he even says, Harrison even says at one point, like, it's like, I didn't know that you were also born like the same way. And so that was kind of cool that they got that little bit of that. That was nice.
Yeah. Like I said, while I do think this was the best, I think this is by far the best episode of the season. I was ready to be disappointed by the way Dexter is shying away from saying he kills them. Like, if you would have paused the episode right there, I was like, oh man, are they really not? Are they going to do everything except let Harrison know? And I'm glad he didn't in this scene, because you sort of like need the episode to play out and build up. Like, you know how and I feel like we don't get that in Dexter. Like, this was just a perfect plotting the way the episode goes to where, obviously we'll talk about it later, but you get that eventual reveal of the way he tells him. Yeah, I just wanted to say I was ready to be disappointed, and then I was very satisfied towards the end of the season. I think part of why this episode works so well for me is, so Harrison goes to bed, and like Dexter's tying up those loose ends. We talked about it last week. Like, hey, what happens to this guy he killed in the cabin? other Dexter episodes, I feel like would have just let this hang out there. Like, yep, this happened. It's Dexter. Like, Dexter goes and makes sure he takes care of it, which was, I thought was really cool that he took care of it. Then you have that, we're cheekily playing The Most Wonderful Time of the Year, the Christmas music. Kind of insane that this is Christmas morning. Like, they just get up and it's like, yeah, we almost just died. Cool. Dexter gets Harrison some gifts, and it's nice to see, sort of like the best part of the episode is the idea of Dexter really, truly, seriously connecting with someone, obviously his son, after all we've been through this season. Dexter getting Harrison the rifle. I think this is, again, like, if you go back to season 1, Dexter, of the flashbacks of Harry teaching Dexter. Just a very father-son type thing going on.
Yeah.
We give the show shit sometimes for whether it's sloppy or lazy writing. I like that Harrison was smart enough, and obviously anyone would have been like, but like, hey, why does Kurt want to kill me? Right? Like, why am I the target here? And Dexter lies because he isn't 100%, truthful in what he does, but it connects in Harrison's mind, kind of like, I guess the way like you would explain to your kids something, like you're not telling them the whole truth, but as long as they understand the whole, and obviously we're talking about killing here. Have you ever had a loud, ugly Christmas sweater like this? Was this ever a thing for you?
Not in realistic world, but like I've done to like work parties where we've had like ugly sweater contests, but like an actual sweater and stuff like that. No, I had a Superman sweater that my grandma made me when I was really little, and that was badass. I have photos of it. Yeah, that's badass. It's a Superman symbol. Well, 8-year-old Colton loved that shit.
That was just so funny the way you said it.
Beautiful.
It's like, no, I didn't have a Christmas sweater, but I had a Superman sweater. Yeah, it was badass. Anyways.
Jealous.
The Christmas morning scene at Angela's.
So awkward.
Dude, so
I literally
it's
have it in my notes.
cringy. It's like cringy, not cringy bad. It's cringy like, oh, like the way he goes to give her a kiss and she turns the cheek, but like Dexter doesn't even notice, which almost like makes it worse.
Like if Dexter's already, we've talked about this. Dexter's already emotionally delayed, right? Like we get that he's emotionally delayed. He doesn't pick up on things. And I'm wanting to think it's because he's so distracted because he's like, oh, I'm with Harrison, I'm trying to fit in. So maybe that's why he's not picking it up. And I am actually not knocking the show because I'm just like, he doesn't pick it up, but they make it so obvious for a reason too. And it's just like, dude, like, how are you not like picking, like, what is it even says like something about the sweaters, and then he's just like in his own head, he's just like, another Christmas accomplished, as he's like eating the monkey bread.
Yeah.
And it's just like, dude, you are not like because the book, when he gives her the book and stuff like that, and she's just like, thanks, like, it was so awkward.
And it's interesting. It's interesting because we, the viewer, know what's going on, but Dexter has no idea, and he's obviously so wrapped up in his son, but he has absolutely no idea what Angela's up to. Even the way the episode ends, Dexter's like, the breakfast wizard, I'm gonna make some eggs and bacon, and Angela just like received like the worst news that she almost like confirms everything she's thinking. It's just interesting where Dexter has no idea what's going on.
None.
And like this, this scene here, just like there, and the Christmas sweaters add like a weird to it, like, but just really cringy.
Well, and that even kind of shows the difference though between Dexter and Harrison, because he's like, well, yeah, we got to do this. It's a tradition I started. It fits in and stuff like that. But Harrison's even kind of like, yeah, like, I'll just stick with this. It shows that they're not, Harrison and Dexter aren't the same. We're seeing like, you know, this whole episode they've been doing this whole thing where like they turn the plates the same and like as you like hated, right? They're making them like, oh, they're one and the same. They're one and the same. I feel like this starting this little moment right here, and it gets bigger obviously as we move along. That he's not the same as Dexter. He's damaged. Like he's definitely a damaged person, but he's actually fitting in. Like he is fitting in. He's
Right.
got like some like issues, but it's like, dude, Harrison doesn't need to be told how to fit in. Like he actually kind of knows how to.
Right.
Because he's
That's a
not
good point.
extra-
That's a
you
good
know,
point. Yeah. He doesn't need the training. Yeah. That's
Yeah, exactly. He doesn't need the train. Like he's doing it. Like, yeah.
that's a good point. I hadn't even thought of. I just was like, I think I was just so along for the ride. I didn't even like over my head. Krabby Cake shows up, Kurt, and
Is that what we're calling him now? Yes.
let me tell you what happened. Let me give you a little behind the scenes here. Watch the episode like I do at 12 o'clock. My son woke up about 2:30. I was up with him from 2:30 to 4:30. Sometime around 9, 10 a.m., Scott agreed to come on the episode, and all day I just been like, holy shit, what do I ask him? What do I do? How do I go about this? So I'm doing my notes, and I don't even know why, because I've never said this. This is my notes. Doorbell rings, and who shows up but OLE Krabby Cakes Kurt. I am mentally fried right now. I'm just letting everyone know. I'm running on fumes. Old Krabby Cake shows up, and I think this is great villain stuff here. Like, again, he did this last episode. Oh, when he did with Angela about Iris, and he's just like, hey,
Yes.
really sorry for your loss, let's whatever. Love the finger gun, because it's like...
Yes.
and you could see, like, how frightened Harrison is, right? It's just like, oh, damn. So, let me ask you something here, because I did some investigative work myself. I want to bring this up here, even though we're talking about the end of the episode. At the end of the episode, Angela finds in her mailbox a letter that says, Jim Lindsay killed Matt Caldwell. I'm looking back and wondering, why does Kurt show up here? Maybe he knows Dexter's there and Harrison.
But he makes that remark.
What?
Remember, he's like, "Oh, if I'd known y'all had been here, I would have brought y'all something." Unless he's saying that to like try to like be more threatening to them or something like that.
Well, so let me say this. I thought the reason why Kurt showed up was to drop off the letter. But in this scene, once the scene ends, the letter is not in the mailbox. And then obviously it's later that day when all of this happens. And then in the morning, once they come back after the cabin, so we're talking about 24 hours, give or take. Who do we think put that letter there?
I assumed it was him.
Excuse me. Let's save that for the end of the episode.
Okay.
I asked the wrong question.
Oh, okay. Oh, sorry.
My question, I guess, was, why does Kurt show up here? I think I'm a little blurry why he actually shows up.
At this point, I had no idea.
Mm-hmm.
Like later on, I think I know what I just answered out loud. But I at this point, I thought, I don't think he was there for Dexter. I don't know if he really even thought Dexter would be there or not. I mean, his truck would have been out there, so he can't be that surprised. But
I think I have an answer.
Maybe, okay, then go. Yeah, because I'm just gonna probably BS something. So yeah, go ahead.
You ever like maybe text your wife or just ask her something just to gauge if she's mad at you or not? It's like, hey babe, what's for dinner tonight? Just to see, and you know how she answers you, whether or not she's mad at you. I think I think Kurt maybe just went over there just to suspect, like, hey, do you know anything? Like, you know what I mean? Just like a feeler. I guess is what I could.
With Angela.
Mm-hmm. Just like putting a feeler out there.
Kind of like what he did with Dexter originally when he was testing Dexter like 3 or 4 episodes ago.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good observation.
Okay. That's just, as you were talking, it just sort of made sense to me.
Makes sense.
Angela does some detective work with the veterinarian who we had seen. And again, this is what I like that the whole ketamine M99 thing is a whole other thing we'll get to later. Did you see the callback here when the woman is reading off the names of people who had bought ketamine?
No.
A. Chung. Does that mean anything to you? And it's fine because you arrived to the podcast late in terms of season 6, and I've admittedly been the super fan of Dexter. A. Chung is Albert Chung, a.k.a. Albert fucking Chung of season 3 fame from Masuka. He goes,
oh, yeah.
Albert fucking Chung.
Yeah. Okay.
So I think that was and I meant to bring that up to Scott because I know he would have loved that we caught that. But
yeah, what are the odds that they put H? Yeah, what's the odds?
And
of
that
right?
nobody knew, right? But then obviously
that's good.
The reveal here is that Jim also took some. Harrison.
It would have been funny if you said A.F. Chung.
That's funny. Albert Fred Chung, yeah.
Sorry.
Harrison and Dexter are playing with the drone that we all knew was going to come back in some way. I honestly thought it was going to come back to hurt Dexter, but what it actually does here is hurt Kurt. Yeah, help Dexter.
Yeah.
Harrison tells Dexter the truth about what happened with Ethan earlier in the season. It was just kind of cool and, something that if I wanted to engage Scott longer with stuff, I just remember this moment with my parents, and your daughter's too young to have this moment, but did you have a moment with your parents where you were like, hey, remember that huge thing I lied about? Obviously, it wasn't fucking stabbing someone, but I feel like we've all had this moment as children with our parents of apologizing, but it's like also like, hey, how did you know? Whether it's like you were late coming home or you were at a party, etc., whatever the case is.
You got trouble at school, and then you get home, and your teachers called your mom, but you didn't know that they knew how to use a phone, and so you get home.
Right.
Mom's like, so I heard you were on the playground. You said shit, huh? What? Not that that's a real story that really happened or anything, but.
I just like the way it's like classic. Even like the way the beginning of this episode, Dexter and Harry. I want to think this was intentional. Dexter and Harrison are around the fireplace, and it's the same way, hey everyone, gather around the fireplace while Daddy tells some stories, like, and it's Dexter talking about how he stalks and kills someone. Harrison. This is the moment. I was talking with Scott where Deb shows up because Harrison is sort of showing that he wants / needs a little more justice with the code, right? Because at this point, Harrison thinks you scare them. Like, how does that work? And you could just tell. We could tell the audience. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, I'm agreeing with you. Yeah.
Harrison can feel it. We, the audience, can feel it that Harrison is, wants more from this. And, like, give an inch, take a foot here, right? Like, Harrison sort of starts revealing, like, hey, at like age 12, I wanted to kill Trinity. And all the makings are there. Harrison's showing the signs, but this great Deb appearance, and this is where it's probably one of my favorite Deb moments because it's like, I don't even know how to explain this. When she shows up, I know what she's going to do, and she does it. It's just that quick little nod. She's just in the background. She's just, like he said, like Scott said, were you there for this part of the interview?
No.
So I said I was bringing up this scene while not talking about this scene. And what was really cool was Scott was like, yeah, that was Jennifer Carpenter all by herself. I had written out words for her. And she came to me and she said, hey, let me do this. And she's just in the corner, I think, arms folded, and she just goes, because you could tell Dexter wants to tell them more.
Right.
But he said this was all by Jennifer Carpenter herself, which is amazing because like it fits.
That's awesome.
It fits so much better than anything she could have said. less is more,
Yeah, exactly.
This is kind of crazy when you think about it too. This is all taking place over the course of 24 hours. I guess maybe 36 by episode's end. Later, Angela's listening to the Molly podcast episode on the Bay Harbor Butcher. Perfect timing with Dexter calling to try and get out of Christmas plans. They're going on a hike, excuse to stalk kill. I'm just setting up stuff here so we could talk about the bigger stuff here. Angela obviously seems to be on board with what Molly thinks, that the Bay Harbor Butcher is still out there. Something last week that I don't think I was dismissive of you, but if I was, you can still hear me because you dropped out of the Zoom.
Yes. Sorry.
Okay. No.
Up my notes.
It's fine. You could do it. It's fine. I may have been dismissive last week, but if I was, let me know. And obviously, I apologize. You said like, "Hey, is Molly dead?" And I said, "No, there's no way." In my head, they wouldn't not show Molly being killed. As soon as Angela calls Molly and she doesn't pick up, in my brain, if my brain could spit out thoughts, it would have said, if I would have had a bubble, it would have ... Damn, Colton was right. Like, as soon as she doesn't pick up, because why have that scene in there for her not to pick up?
Yeah.
Like, she either picks up or she doesn't. And if she doesn't, it's supposed to mean something.
And to give myself credit, when you were saying no, I was like, maybe she's not. I was like, because in my head, I'm sitting there like, well, why did they have him sitting at that embalming table? And I'm like, maybe he's like going, like he's prepping things and stuff like that. We don't know. I was like, and she's been a pretty big character. I was like, if they're going to kill her, they're going to show her. I was like, she's probably not. And so
now
this
we have
reveal even got me. I was just like, oh, shit, I was kind of right. Like, but I didn't know I was right.
Well, let me tell you, it wasn't the embalming is what made you
suspicious.
But if you remember what made you put two and two together is you said the last episode, Kurt's outside looking at the Iron Lake Tavern and he's watching.
Right.
Yeah.
He's watching her. He's specifically watching her because Angela walks away and he keeps focusing on her. And I'm like, okay. And then it shows him in the embalming room later. And then I'm just like, okay.
Yeah.
In my head, I'm like, well, maybe he's prepping. Like, that's how he preps. And we're going to see he's actually kidnapped her again or something like that. But I think now, I think that when it showed him at the embalming table, he was working on his doll.
Turns out he was, Didn't even know.
Yeah.
This is something I need more time to process and why anyone would care what my favorite moment of this episode is. To me, I think the moment where I think I was watching and just like so into the episode, like usually I'm watching it, I'm thinking about a lot of stuff, but the moment I was like, I almost felt like I was on set watching it. Dexter is preparing to get all his stuff together that, they think they found a bunker and they're going to go at nighttime. So Dexter's getting his stuff ready and Deb being the voice of reason, right? Like Dexter thinks Harrison's all ready to take everything in. And Deb is like, hey, and it's kind of like what the crutch that this show sits on. Was Dexter's only way out being taught the code or mental institution or prison? And we could have that debate and everything, but you know, Deb saying like, hey, don't fuck up your son here. There are other ways to do about this. But the moment that had me just like a little kid watching TV is when Dexter kind of snaps back at her. And Deb's always the one barking at Dexter. Dexter barks back at Deb and like fucking grabs her head, right? Like, and also like it's like a season-long eruption of like Dexter thinks he's right, and in the end, like this is, Dexter teaching his son to kill. And how we always talk about how arrogant Dexter is. Like he thinks he knows best. No one could possibly whatever. And I feel like this is him explaining that and yelling that to his fucking ghost dead sister. It's just so funny when you start saying it like that. But this is where I feel like Deb is in a win-win situation. She's like, yeah, you get to fucking teach him the code, and you fucking love it. Like, you arrogant... like, she says it early this season, you arrogant fuck.
Yeah.
Like, no matter what way this all happens, it's so cool to have someone there to check Dexter. And again, it's a ghost Deb, and it's not a real person, but at least his thoughts are in his head. You know, we can go into a whole long rant about Deb's purpose in Dexter's head, but to shorten it, I just love that no matter which way Dexter knows this is wrong through via Deb incarnation.
Deb, yes.
it's so funny explaining it. Kurt sprays Dexter's house / cabin with propane. Obviously, he thinks he's in there and waiting outside to shoot them. This is where, again, it's not a direct correlation to season 2, but if we're just talking about burnt cabins, in the end, you know, somewhat of a relation.
I could see that. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
And then at the same time, we have Dexter and Harrison showing up to Kurt's cabin, and as we somewhat surmised last week, that they come across this bunker. You know, we were like, hey, where did Kurt run to? We assume it's one of these bunkers, right? I mean, this one had the lock on it and everything. He just disappears.
I mean, he disappeared. Yeah.
And then through this moment, through the camera, Kurt sees Dexter and Harrison, and I felt watching the episode, even if you paused it and asked me right there, I was like, oh shit, we're about to get something huge. I don't know what we're about to get. I just know we're going to get something big. We entered the lair. I had some of this conversation with Scott off air, and I'm not betraying any trust here because this is just stuff that is in the episode. So I told him, I was like, hey, I'm a funeral director / embalmer. Part of the reason why I'm bringing this up for the podcast is Dodge Embalming Chemicals, which Colton one time sent me a Dodge, an old school antique, I think it was like early 1900s Dodge embalming bottle. And Dodge is still around today, and it's the main supplier of embalming chemicals. They're like the #1 company in the United States, at least. In this room, you have Dodge embalming chemicals. They're the bottles there. Did you notice that at all when you saw it?
No, I'll bring up my noticing thing that I wanted to ask you later, but no, I didn't notice that. So that's kind of cool. They put Dodge in it. Okay.
Yeah, and the reason why the Dodge headquarters is actually in Boston, where this is filmed. It's obviously fictional town, Iron Lake, New York, but they're actually filming in Massachusetts. They're not filming in Boston. So I just was curious if they got the thing there. And what was so funny about it is Scott Reynolds, who has all control over this episode, and he's the one who put everything together in terms of like who says what action's going to happen. He was just like, I have no idea. The prop director does that. So he couldn't even answer me. I am curious to know if that. Anyway, I don't want to harp on it too long, but what was it, a embalming related question, or?
It was going to be okay, so I'll just go ahead and like say it since we're already here. It was my biggest thing on this one. I was like, because you were talking about like, no, this is #1 Dexter episode. I love it, and I was like sitting in my head. I'm like, but he has all these bodies embalmed, and Victor's willing to look past that. I was like, interesting.
So let me get.
That's my thing. Yeah, like I said, I get we have to look the other way, but I was like, to me, I'm just like in my head, not knowing you, I would have been like, yeah, you embalm somebody, you can prop them up like that. It works just fine. Put some PVC pipe in their bones, and you can go to town.
So what's really funny? Yeah. What's funny about that? Let me everyone gather around the fireplace. Let Daddy Vic tell you some stories. In other countries around the world, and you may have seen pictures of this, it's usually chalky, corny, suspect Facebook articles or links. Other parts of the world, for whatever reason, when your traditional funeral that you've been to, a visitation, the person is laid out in the casket, arms crossed. We've all seen it, 6 feet under, right? Mm-hmm. Other parts of the world, some of the time they do these elaborate displays where the person is either sitting or they're like on a bicycle. Have you ever seen these?
I've seen some, or like they'll be like buried like in a car, or
No, not necessarily buried. I'm talking about displayed to view.
yeah, I've seen some of those. Yeah, I've seen some. Yeah.
And so about 10 or so years ago, I wanted to be ambitious and I wanted to actually try this. You have to get the right family to agree to it. And who the hell wants to see grandma sitting on the chair with a cigarette in her hand playing poker with cigarettes dead, right? Like, that's not what we're used to.
Yeah.
It's just what we're not used to. So for purposes of the show, you are 100% right. There's no way they would be standing up like this. I mean, I guess they could be. They could be if they're not moving and,
I mean, if you
and
had
you're not
like
showing
a
them.
strap system,
If they're strapped to the
like
back,
holding them,
yeah.
you know, like the little dolls you get when you get like the action figures in Walmart, and they have the little twist
And the
thing. You gotta
twist
sit there.
ties. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can't tell it's Christmas, and I had to do a bunch of those for my daughter. But
They have.
I guess you could have those.
They have the new snaps on the back that you just turned out. Yeah. Dad life, right? So the reason why this didn't bother me is only because what I was able. First of all, let me throw this out there as a huge disclaimer. I enjoyed this episode so much that the plot, possible holes and everything went over my head. Like, it didn't even bother me about how Dexter and Harrison got Kurt down that bunker. I don't even care. Like, none of that bothers me. I just enjoyed the episode so much, and I've said time and time again, if I enjoy your shit so much, I am not going to nitpick stupid little shit. But once I don't like the episode, I just start navigating towards everything. In a fictionalized, heightened reality world like we talk about Dexter, if this was Kurt perfecting what he wanted his trophies to be, it's doable. Is it campy? Would this hold the test of time of 20 some odd years? Probably not, but maybe it's air seal tight. Where no air can get in, there's no microbes that can get in, and
what is it? Linen. Linen's his
what's that?
corpse is like in linen, right? Isn't linen like in right? Like, and granted, I understand like there's a process behind that and stuff like that. You know, like monthly upkeeps and stuff like that. But like his corpse, like it looks like he died yesterday, from what I understand. Like,
I have to look into that because you're the second person to have said that, and I don't know anything about it. I mean, I know who you're talking about, what you're talking about. I just didn't know he was still on display.
From what I understand, he's still on display, and he looks like there's it's obviously a very like high kept secret, but from what I understand, he has to go through like an he's obviously deceased, but the body goes through like an embalming process like once a month or something like that. Plus they do like, and the concoction that they do is a Russian secret, you know, and stuff like that. But when you see photos, it's like the dude just died. Like what I've seen, I've never seen it in person. You may see it in person and be like, oh well, these are touched up photos, you know? But yeah.
I wonder too if what adds here is the weather, the cold. That I think that may have something to do with it, you know.
That's I just say that as like a joke.
No.
Like, of all
it's worthy. It's worthy. You know, you're not bringing that up to someone who never doesn't pick out plot holes. You're talking to someone who obviously, hey, why did he do it with his right hand instead of his left? So yeah, it's like it's worthy. You're not wrong in that. I think it just shows like my interest in the episode. You know what I mean? Like if it's good, I'll bypass a lot of stuff, and I obviously bypassed this. Like I didn't even over my head. Where am I? See, I have like something on the embalming chemical, but it's not even worth bringing up because it's not even nitpicky. It's just explaining way too much. Walking down these hall of trophies Kurt has, and we have like motion sensors, right? Like as the further they walk, the each light turns on. I was legit creeped out by this. Were you? Oh no, we lost Colton. Oh, this is such a bad moment to lose Colton. Colton.
No, I'm here.
Oh, okay,
I'm
okay.
here.
Were you creeped out?
It cut out for a second. Are you there?
That's fine. You hear me?
Shut up, cunt.
Go ahead.
Oh, it's like, is it a delay? Shit.
1, 2, 3. Can you hear me?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Shut up, cunt.
Yes, I can hear you.
Damn it.
Were you creeped out by
What
walking?
happened to me? Do I have a feeling you just like blacked out my audio just for a fucking joke at this point? I didn't even put it past it. Like you like, hey, I'm gonna pause this screen really quick. Oh my god. Yeah, yes. Every time it comes on, because you see the different girls coming up, and then it ends with Molly. I mean, it was eerie to the max. Easily the eeriest thing to happen this episode, or this season. Probably top up there eerie things in the actual show. Like it was just something. Yeah, it's campy, but it's like it's a creepy campy. Like I don't like it, but it's like I don't like it because I love it. You know, like if that makes sense.
It's unsettling. Like,
yes,
you know what I mean? Like it doesn't even the whole scene. And what Scott brought up that I didn't even take into account, but like the whole scene, they're just there. It almost felt like they were alive, but obviously they're dead and embalmed. But they're also, the way Scott explained it was, it's all of his trophies, all of these girls watching Dexter kill Kurt, which we'll get to in a second. But they're like they're obviously on display, and this is how Kurt had them, but they're also like viewing all of this happen, which I think was like a good way to put it or frame it. You know,
that's cool.
right.
I didn't even think about that.
Right.
That's very cool.
Yeah, and that's from Scott, obviously not from me. I was legitimately sad when Molly is there. Like what that poor girl must have went through. And just like, I knew she was dead because like I said, when they picked up the phone and she didn't answer, I knew she was dead. But like seeing her there, and I was expecting it, but actually seeing it was like, oh, that doesn't feel right.
Well, and I don't know if this was intentional from the actress or if this was the show did it, but if you notice, they are sitting there like all, and I can't do this because I'm on my phone.
The hands
but
are
all
behind.
the girls, their arms,
Yeah.
but hers are behind, like she's patiently waiting for something.
Right.
And something about that little tiny difference creeped me out even more, and made me almost a little more sad. Like maybe she's not dead. Maybe she's just knocked out because she's a tiny bit different.
Yeah.
You know,
I hear that. I felt it too. I know what you're talking about. And maybe it's just to put more emphasis on Molly because she meant more to us, you know, nine episodes in. Harrison, realizing that his dad serves justice, he just comes right out and asks, hey, did you kill Wiggles? And when he was like, yes, and then he said, I also killed Arthur Mitchell, I was like, oh, shit. We're really going to get into it here. I did the classic gasp when he actually said it, because he was just like, it's almost the same way like a boy and a girl will be like, I love you. And the girl's, oh my God, me too. And they're like, you know, they start like, whatever. Like, Dexter even goes so far as to kiss him on his forehead. Like, God, I could finally, oh, you hate this?
I hate Dexter for this. I don't hate this moment in the show. I hate Dexter for this.
Explain.
Because what he says is, and I killed Arthur Mitchell, the one who killed your mother, or something like that. And I'm like, no. You killed Arthur Mitchell not knowing he had killed the mom. No, and the mom is dead because of you.
Because of you.
I hated Dexter, and I'm not saying that this is a plot hole that they didn't know what they were writing and stuff like that. I hate the character, and I think this is the moment that I'm glad you brought this up, because we're about to get into something else, and I think this is the moment that something switches in Harrison, and something switches in the way that the show is told. And I think it's intentional for this reason. I really actually think that there's an intentional moment to this, and I wish I could have been able to talk to Scott.
So let me add something to you. Let me add something to what you're saying, and I wonder if this dispels anything that you're talking about. Me and you, as the podcast community, we always talked about that Dexter is an unreliable narrator. What he's saying, he doesn't exactly believe. So what Scott said, and this is actually going to be cool because you're going to actually be able to listen to the interview, and you know, did you hear Scott talk about this?
I
guess
didn't
not.
actually. No.
He says he agrees with us. Dexter is an unreliable narrator, and he is not always telling the truth, or at least how he thinks he tells the truth. But he says in that moment, Dexter thinks he's telling the truth to Harrison. Hey, I killed Arthur because he killed your mother. When we, the audience, know that's not true. Me, it went over my head. I think I was so in the moment, I didn't even connect it. It took until Scott saying it himself. But he knows at this moment that's Dexter almost trying to connect with Harrison so much. Is the way I take it. This is not all Scott said was Dexter's an unreliable narrator. He even lies when he's telling the truth. He did not kill when he killed Trinity. He did not know Rita was dead. I take it as Dexter was so desperately trying to like suck Harrison in that he, all this is he's born in blood. Like I even killed your mother's killer for you. Does that change anything you were gonna say or about to say?
No. And like I said, I could be this fan right now that I'm thinking more than what the writers were putting out there. But I'll bring up, like I said, we're about to get into some stuff that this is the vast majority of my notes is over the next 5 minutes of that the show is talking about. So it does a little bit like what he's saying. It does tie in a little bit with what I'm thinking. But I'm gonna get into it whenever we get into this scene.
Mm-hmm. For me. Something I think last week we kind of missed the mark on, and I apologize to listeners. Me and you did not give the scene enough credit where Harrison hugs Dexter. We kind of shoot it off, and I think we were just a little not satisfied with where the season was headed. So I think what we both said was like, wow, we should have gotten here a lot earlier. That moment had a lot of weight, and I at least missed the mark on giving that moment more praise. I am going to shift whatever moment I was going to give that praise to and shift it to this moment that when like Dexter grabs him by the head and kisses his forehead, like I feel like this is worth the payoff of unfortunate waiting for this moment. Complaining about it for 8-9 episodes, I enjoy the payoff here when he finally tells him and he finally says, yes, I killed these people. For me, that was worth the moment. So sort of making up for last week. Go ahead.
No, and I was actually listening to his Scott's podcast. And one of the I think it was one of the writers. It was either one of the writers or
the director.
One of the director of last episode had said that when they filmed that, like he was actually like tearing up watching it, and I was like, really? I was like, I was like, I didn't get that emotional thing, and I say that I went back and rewatched part of that again. I was like, he does, like he latches onto him, not like a 16-year-old kid. He latches onto him like a little kid. When my little daughter, my 2-year-old, almost 3-year-old, when her she gets something not quite right, like when she takes a bite of an apple or whatever, and it's got the sticker in it, and then she's upset because it's got the sticker, and she comes running to me. I was like, that's how he leaches out to him, and I was like, I didn't catch that, and I actually felt bad about it as well because I was like, I should have been, I guess, paying a little more attention. Again, like, yeah, kind of bad, but it's like I was, I guess, too much into some of the stuff I didn't like about it or whatever. So yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm glad we're in agreement there because we did miss the mark, and like, yeah, I did listen to some of that episode too, and like, yeah, it's like, again, my child is not old as yours, but I totally get that, like, yeah, that jumping on and grabbing thing there. The classic Dexter, and again, this just feels like seasons 1 through 4 here. Like Kurt's packing up his belongings. We're assuming he's going to go on the run because he knows Dexter and Harrison. I'm not even sure if we brought up that he's burning down his cabin like a fucking maniac. Yeah, we talked about it. Yeah. He's outside with the gun waiting.
Because in all actuality, I kind of thought he was spraying water all over it.
I totally did too.
I was like, is he gonna Home Alone Dexter? Like he's just gonna walk out and slip and fall? I was like, is that what he's doing here? It's like, because that'd be pretty badass. I'm not gonna lie.
The moment Harrison shows up in Kurt's house and he does the cheeky. Just a great payoff moment, just a nice way to come back. And Dexter comes up behind and he M99 or ketamines him, and we get the setup of the kill room. And again, we're talking about how open Scott said it. We're like ripping off the Band-Aid. We're being raw with it. Harrison, like, hey, how many times have you done this? And classic Dexter always will get away with a lot. And Harrison's like, no. Like in the 100, like how many? Give me a number. I feel like that's why, like, it's stuff like that makes this classic OK Dexter episode classic all time, possibly the best. Because Dexter says a lot, and I feel like 104 episodes prior, they say, wow, okay. And Harrison's like, no. I want a number. Like, give me, like, tell me. Don't just tiptoe around it. Like, give it to me. Kind of like how he does with Miguel or Lumen. You know, he's able to skate just a little bit there. They wake up Kurt. These are, have you ever smelt one of these? The ammonia tablets?
I never have. I smelling salts. I've always wanted to do.
They're not.
Like,
They're not. We have them at the funeral home for when people pass out. I believe it's ammonia tablets. Hold on. I'm Googling it here. If you guys are interested in this is the segment of the podcast where Victor Googles stuff.
Funny, while you're Googling that, apparently it is really big now in the bodybuilding community to do this. They will, like, the actual like powerlifters and bodybuild, I know powerlifting and bodybuilding is two completely separate things, but it's really big in powerlifting and bodybuilding. Before they do like a competition lift or competition flexing and stuff like that, and you can buy them. You can buy them online. You can buy like packs, like not bags, sorry, a carton of smelling salts, and it's different ones. And they'll sit there and they'll just like open the container and just like suck it in, like take a big breath, because apparently I've never smelled one, but it just wipes everything in your mind clear, where all you can focus on is what you just inhaled. And so you get this crystal clear focus apparently of, this is what I have to do. I need to get this lift. I need to get this flex. I need to do this. So it's huge, because I listened to the Joe Rogan podcast, and one of the bodybuilder guys, he came on there and was like, yeah, I've got my own brand and stuff like that. Joe Rogan smelled it on the next episode. And literally for like 5 minutes straight, they would start talking about something else. And Joe Rogan would stop and be like, all I can think about is those salts. What was we just smell? Like, he couldn't think of, he literally was almost high because he couldn't think of anything else other than what had just gone into his body. So I really want to smell them just to see, like, yeah.
So yes, it is. I thought it's an ammonia tablet. Jen's backing me up here, and it's an ammonia popper. It's like ammonia in a glass tube and paper that you break. Yeah, so it's like this little, almost like the way salt used to be at McDonald's. Oh, you know what it is in the episode. So I spelled one of these ones. I think I have it in a jacket somewhere. I did it, and I blacked out for like 5 seconds and just started coughing. I did it like kind of like, it can't be that bad. What is it? And I did it like, it's not a big deal. And I just like, yeah.
That's crazy. I want to try.
And we are done with the segment of over-explaining ammonia tablets. Kurt explanation of what he does. They're just runaways, hence the song. And after providing for them with a meal and a room, he kills them to keep them safe forever, because they always eventually run away. And after, because what's out there is, he saw it firsthand for himself of what his dad does.
Which is a bullshit explanation when you kill Molly. Okay, I'm just being honest. Like, that's a bullshit explanation when that's a person that you kill, because Molly is the least runaway person in this entire group. Just and I'm not mad at the show. I'm just like saying, like, Kirk himself, I'm like, you like killing. That's what you like doing. You like this. Like,
and like you said, Dexter reads between the lines. Like, it has nothing to do with that. This is about power. This is about dominance. Yes, like it's we know Kurt's lying to himself, kind of like the way Dexter is. Like, hey, I serve the justice that everything can. Go ahead.
And now this is where I'm going to be interrupting you a bunch, just so you understand that. This is why I love this whole episode, or this whole scene right here. I'm even rolling up the sleeves because I like talking about this one so much. When he does that, and he even says that's bullshit. He was like, you like the power, that's what you're in there for. Dexter's talking about him. He's not talking about himself, but he is talking about himself. And I feel like at this point in the show, we're kind of seeing a little bit of where it's no longer Dexter telling this story. We're now getting glimpses of Harrison being a part of it, because they flashed bits and bits and pieces. They flash little tidbits over to Harrison whenever this whole kill is going on, and he's looking at him, and he does some like certain little like movements where he's kind of like, well, wait, this is kind of what you're talking about yourself. That's where I'm like, wait, like that. And I started catching on to this the next episode, the second viewing of it. I could be, like I said, thinking too much into it, but that's kind of what I was taking from this. Is he's like, when he says that, it's like, dude, you're explaining yourself.
To solidify your point and why I agree with you, because Dexter at a certain point says no more talking about fathers.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of, yes, talking about yourself, talking about someone else while he's actually talking about yourself. And remember, we went into this season. We if I had more time, I could have re-listened to some of our episodes. But remember the theme of this season: father-son relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And it's on full display here. The only thing that's missing is Matt, and you could have a fucking podcast about everything that's happening here. I fully agree with you. I think it's hitting a little too close to home for Dexter with Harrison there. I think he's riding the high of my son is... I get to open my world to my son, and Kurt is almost like shining like a negative light on that, and it's like, no, none of that. You die now.
And it's only going to get more. It's only going to get more.
Because I think, right, like where... Because, it's so funny. I have this in my notes, too. You just brought it up in a good way that I forgot. Again, in my notes, there's a moment where Dexter is talking about how Matt blamed Kurt for all of this, and now Dexter returns the lines, sins of the father. They pan the camera to Harrison, and I have to believe this thematic beat comes back in the next episode. So, yes, there's a lot of, hey, Kurt and Matt, you're nothing like us, and they're actually the Spider-Man meme. Where it's like Kurt and Matt are pointing at like Dexter and Harrison, that they're the same. A lot to talk about for what may or may not happen next week. I did not have the courage to bring up to Scott, but when Dexter is sawing up the body of Kurt and Harrison's watching. Go ahead. You got more to say.
Well, yeah, I got one more thing to say on this one.
Yeah.
So this is like I said, this is where I really think that a lot of this is starting to hit home. This is Harrison kind of watching again. Like I said, this is Harrison watching. One of my favorite parts of this whole kill that's about to happen and stuff like that is in what you said, when he even says like, oh, your son, when Matt was on my table, he said this. And then when he tells Harrison, he's Kurt, when Kurt tells Harrison, and he's like, I was going after you because he killed Matt. Like it wasn't personal, which is kind of funny because that goes with what the guy previously said that.
Yeah.
But when he says that, he says he killed 5. It actually even says he killed 5 people. He got him off. That's, he fit the code. And when Kurt even like says, he's like, he's like, that's all it takes. And I was just like, and then he's like, that's it. And then he like, when he puts the gloves in his mouth, and I was like, he's questioning Dexter's code. And Dexter's at this point so insecure with his own code, he doesn't even believe it anymore. And because he's like, I'm not letting you even talk about this. I'm not letting you try to convince me that it's not, because Dexter, was Matt an asshole? Was Matt a piece of shit and all of that? Yeah, absolutely. He was a drug addict. He was out here killing deer for no reason, stuff like that. Would he have killed again? That part of the code is you have to know he will kill again. I can't say for certain that he would have killed again. Yeah, he may have been in a DWI and ran into a family or something like that, but he could have also OD'd at a party later on. And he wouldn't have hurt anybody. So I don't think he actually, Matt, I don't think he fully fit the code. And I think Harrison's kind of realizing that Dexter's he's not living up to this own standard. And oh, this sounds weird to even say it in this one. We've kind of mentioned this before. Dexter kind of fits his own code at this point. Like that's. I'm not saying 100%, and I'm not saying that that's what Harrison's thinking, but that's kind of what's going through my head on it.
So, yes, there's a lot there, right?
Like I said, I have a lot on this one. I sound like I said, it's like Charlie it's like the things like I'm smoking a cigarette in the mailroom and I'm over here drawing red lines everywhere going, look, you go over here.
So there's absolutely a lot there that's going on, and you're correct in a lot of what you're saying. And I think what I love what this episode brings, I'm currently on a rewatch of Sopranos, just out of nothing else to watch that I don't feel like getting into. And the great thing about The Sopranos is ambiguity. There's never clear-cut answers. And it leads to great discussion. Hey, who did it? Who didn't do it? Just an example. I think this part of the episode / season is one of those moments where it's like, I could, if I wanted to, say, no, Matt fits the code because he killed people and he got away with. But he's not going to do it again. Did he actually kill them, or did Kurt, like, we can go down this hole and we actually could have good discussion. Episodes from season 8, this guy kills people, and if you want to be sure about it, he has all of the cannibal food in his fridge. Well, he's definitely, like, I love that we have this here. I think, unfortunately, we have one episode to sort of tie it up. That's a great question. Does Dexter fit his own code? I'm gonna say no. Well, I guess yes, but he always fit his own code. He killed people and got away with it.
True.
Right.
Right. True.
So it's interesting you say that about that they're going to kill again, because I feel like Dexter does not say that this episode. I feel like he says, "Don't get caught. Find the proof." But he has in the past said, and I think it's to Miguel, that he's going to kill again.
Exactly, yeah, because there was somebody that Miguel wanted to kill, and he was like, he's not going to kill again. He doesn't fit the code. I don't remember what it was, or her, or something like that. It was like they don't. Besides, I can't think of her name, the lawyer, but it was like they don't fit the code because you can't say that they're not going to kill again. It was something along those lines. So it's been brought up before that that's a part of the code. Because if it's somebody, because if that's the case with his code, then that may be somebody that. I don't want to get into it too much because then it's but I feel like that's been a part of the code the whole time.
Oh, and it has. I go to, like, stuff that was in this episode. Hold on, I got to read this moment here. Harrison got to say the fans do that about that. Yeah. Again, there's. I feel like we can have an entire whole other discussion about this. I would need to sharpen up on my code knowledge and everything. But so let me ask you, because it kind of feels like you're with your own thoughts, you're shifting somewhere. Do you think this leads into what you predict is going to happen next week, or not necessarily?
It kind of makes me wonder some stuff now. Yeah, it's definitely got my thoughts from the last 8 episodes. My thoughts about how the ending is going to go about is definitely changing.
I'm going to give you the option here. Do you want to bring that up here, or do you want to keep going with the episode? Because I want to bring it up, and then at the very end we can bring up kind of like what we think or something like that. Yeah. I'm done now. I'm done with my rant. So the cocaine's done. So. When Dexter,
that's a joke.
When Dexter is sawing up Kurt's body and Harrison's watching it, I think this is where it, like, reinstated, because again we've kind of just accepted, like, yeah, Dexter kills people, it's what he does. Watching the fucking hacking, it just like reinstilled in my mind that like there's something wrong with this man, and he's not the hero he's supposed to be. This is mentally disturbing if you're you're hacking up
When they-
body parts.
When they show like Kirk's like body at a certain point where they're trying to be as sanitized as they can, but they're not, and you see like that gaping open where
Dexter's
his
just
arm
wearing
is
a
gone.
shirt.
Yeah, and I was just like, holy shit! I was like, this is a butcher shop right now.
Dude, it's just it. So Scott was kind of saying, and this is what I said. I didn't have the courage to respond to Scott. What, Scott's saying like Dexter is the hero of this show, right? He's like the anti-hero. Like he only kills the bad people. So what he gets away with is fine. But watching this scene here when he's hacking up the body and Harrison's watching him, it's just something he's done every episode. The body parts, we all know about it. But them showing it again and him like it just like I like literally said in my head like, this guy is fucking disturbed in the head. You have to be what Dexter is, a fucking psychopath to be doing this shit.
Well, he talks about it, he's like, yeah, you divide it up into 8 slices.
Yeah, like
sometimes they're bigger and you gotta go a little bit more.
Yeah.
I prefer 8 hefty bags, but sometimes you got the big fellas and they're gonna be 10. Like, I'm sorry, do what now?
A little elbow grease and it'll take care of that right away. That's so funny. As like we were talking about, how does Harrison feel during all this, and what the scene is really about is Harrison here. As that blood is getting to Harrison's feet, towards Harrison, he's getting these Rita/Trinity flashbacks, and this is where Harrison finally says like, hey, I need some air. More to your point about like, in 9 parts you got to chop this up. Like even when they're at the top of the stairs, it felt like the way you used to help your dad with a project. Like, listen, why don't you help your old man and throw those bags in the back of the truck? Like, this is fucking sick.
Bag of parts. And he's just like, and Harrison's just like just kind of like, I have to do this. I have to go along with this at this point. Oh my god.
Help your old man out with this here. Again, we've never had this close of a Dexter relationship, and I feel like Dexter went like, not sure if he's ready to Harrison, you're a veteran. Like, just go ahead. You know what your job is already. Get those stuff in the back. And I think it's scary how quick Dexter got like in the zone with everything, Something that I did not bring up that I don't even know if you caught, because you've never read the books, right?
Right, no.
They mention quite a few times in this episode the blood moon. The blood moon is how, like, I think there's 8 books, or maybe it's the first book. I feel like there's a couple books that start with it, but Dexter has like a 5 to 10 page, like almost poem to the moon, the blood moon. I want to say the first book starts like, oh moon, oh blood moon, and the way the pilot episode of Dexter starts, it's looking at it starts out, I think, with the moon mirrored off a puddle, which was always a nod to the books. So it was just a, hey, they keep bringing up this blood moon, and you could just say a moon. When you say blood moon, you're going for something specific. I think that's a nod to the books. Dexter and Harrison put Kurt's body in the community cremation chamber, and as they arrive home, we see there is a nice little discussion of like, kind of like the way after you eat a full meal, like, hey, you see that? Your dark passenger, he's gone, huh?
Yeah, that actually was kind of nice. That was like, okay, like we got through all this, and he's like, yeah.
And as they arrive back to their house, obviously, what we knew, but I kind of forgot about during the episode, Jim's / Dexter's cabin is burned to the ground, and there's obviously
Mhm.
Iron Lake Metro and fire department there. This obviously raises Angela's suspicion. Where were you? This is also why I was so into this episode. I was like, Dexter's not going to be able to explain this. Like, how can he explain where you were? And he gets those lies out. You know, I was hiking. I turned off our phones, etc., etc., etc.
Lost track of time.
Yeah,
all
yeah.
12 hours in -5-degree weather.
Like,
you know,
you didn't realize. Like,
you know how we are.
Did you not get tired? But yeah, sure. And then Angela being very disturbed at the notion from Audrey that, like, hey, again, uncomfortable, like we said at the Christmas morning. They could come stay with us, right? And it's like, no. And you could see, like, Angela's barking at Dexter, like, where were you? Why were
She's about to interrogate him. Like, she's about to interrogate him right then.
Because I think she kind of knows, like, hey, again, we have the whole episode of, like, they show up to Christmas and then they leave. And then he cancels plans later, and he has a nice alibi with Harrison, but it's like, something's not right here. And obviously add the Bay Harbor Butcher stuff. And then, you know, the way our episode ends, they arrive at Angela's house with a note in the mailbox. Dexter and Harrison are, you know, super happy to be cooking breakfast, and Dexter's like way too happy for a man that's cabin just burned down to be cooking breakfast. And it's like, it's just breakfast. And obviously the note revealing Jim Lindsay killed Matt Caldwell along with titanium screws, and that's our episode. Woo.
What a doozy.
What a doozy. I thought from the beginning, and I thought it still up until now, obviously the episodes have swayed me, but I'm standing firm. I think, with reason that I could explain, I think Harrison kills Dexter. I have no idea what happens with the Bay Harbor Butcher Angela stuff. But I think it's Harrison. And now, with my 9 episodes of information, I think the code was too much for Harrison. Everyone's talking in the chat. There's too much going on, and I'm trying to focus on, like, what a great episode this was.
I kept looking at the chat, and I can't keep up with it.
If I'm going to sit here and say this is one of my favorite episodes, I want to make sure our conversation, like, fulfills that.
Yeah.
So, like, everything in the chat, I love that there's people talking in the chat and they're having their own conversation.
There's a great conversation going on where like legitimately good discussion.
Does Dexter fit his own code? There's too much going on.
Yeah.
I'm still riding a Scott Reynolds high. I think Harrison is disgusted with Dexter sets up the classic kill room, same way Dexter does to everyone else. I think Harrison does it for Dexter. Possibly, you know, if they want to get campy with it, a photo of every someone Dexter killed. I think we could remember / maybe they say it just to promote it. The ending is supposed to break the internet.
Mm-hmm. Well, if I'm not mistaken, and this could be all just conjecture and rumor, isn't somebody from the original show supposed to a person from, well, and that's the thing, they can say these vague shits. A person from Dexter's past will make a reappearance. Well, is that really somebody from the show, or is it actually somebody from his past that, like, you know, we didn't ever see in the show somehow that they can bring up? You know, like, I'm assuming it's going to be somebody from the show, but who is it? Is it Angel again? Like, does he come in? You know?
I think it's only. I think it could only be 4 people.
If it's not Quinn, I'm done.
It's Batista, Quinn, Masuka, or Matthews. I think
on a ski vacation, all 4 of them.
Miami Metro vacation. I think they are very obviously trying their best to not be aware of seasons 5 through 8. So I think you could eliminate.
You're 100%. You think the whole, I've seen it out there. You think Hannah, 100%. It will never be her.
No, I think they brought her up in therapy, and I think that's it. I think it's only one of four: Quinn, Batista, Masuka, Matthews. If you made me bet, I say it's Masuka. LFI on the BHB. Angela, that's who she talks to. Even though Masuka is out there in social media having said, I am not a part of the season, I think that's a lie.
I'll be honest with you. I think it's somebody different, and I'm gonna be like, and I'm not being like dramatic or like I'm not trying to like do a bit or anything like that. I think it's Brian somehow. Like I really think it's Brian somehow. Whether it be like a final discussion with him or something like that, for some reason.
Or I guess Harry. Brian.
Maybe Harry. I don't know why. I don't know why. I just think it's Brian.
The only reason why I'm going to say it's not Brian, and I think it's if you're going to choose Ghost. Okay, so I'm sorry. For me, I didn't even factor in Harry is because father-son relationship. And Brian is more of the brother, obviously, angle of it. But
that's
you know
true.
what? But you know what?
Point.
I said Molly wasn't dead, and I'm a fucking moron, so...
We still don't know that Kirk did it. I still haven't seen him actually kill anybody without a mask, without the person with the mask on. We still don't know.
Well,
every time has shown himself taking the mask off, he never killed somebody. Think about it.
You're saying we don't know? I think you should say I don't know.
No, we don't know.
We know. Me and everyone in the chat knows. Let me tell you something. It's so funny, and it would have been funny, but he would have gave us the biggest fake laugh. But if I was going to try to... you heard me rolling off names of killers that Kirk could be. If I would have been able to explain the deep fake killer, that is such a good joke. That would have been really funny. I just want to say that.
Just go back and listen to all of our other shit episodes, and then you'll get it, sir. Because you don't have other things to do with your time.
What? It sounded like you were saving something for the end, or did we discuss it already in terms of the finale for next week, or?
No, I think I'm somewhat in agreement with you. I do think I'm definitely leaning towards Dexter dies. I'm leaning towards that. How that's gonna go about, I don't know yet. I don't want him to get arrested and it all ends with him getting executed like via gas chamber or something like that. I don't want that. I don't know what's going to happen with Harrison. I kind of wonder if... How do I say this without being a spoiler?
Why? Do you know what happens?
No. With what you talked about 2 episodes ago.
I want to say that doesn't happen because that's a... Well... Sorry.
But I kind of wonder if Harrison realizes, hey, I feel like he feels better this episode, but he realizes to get to that feeling better, I have to go through this whole process, and he doesn't like that process because we clearly see he was not a fan of what happened. That's why I don't know. Like I'm way out there right now. I don't
forget we have a gun. We have a rifle out there that has to probably come into play somehow. What do they call it? Like Chekhov's gun. You introduce a gun, you have to fire it at some point.
Right, and he was saying, he's a good shot and stuff like that. And I think I saw somebody in the chat mention that there's a potential that they think it'll be the LaGuardia and Deb event again, but it's Dexter and Angela. The only issue I have with that, I don't think that that's going to be it, is I don't see Dexter willing to kill Angela. I don't see that, but I could see Angela being put in that situation where Angela is the version of Deb, and Dexter is it's between Dexter and somebody else. But then who is that somebody else?
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Like, will Dexter kill Harrison? No, I don't see that happening. Unless they're in some weird fight and Dexter goes psycho or something like that. But that would be such a break from what we've actually seen.
Yeah.
So I don't I'm all over the place.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, I think it ultimately ends with Dexter R.I.P. It's been a good run.
And then he wakes up as a lumberjack back in Oregon. I'm with you.
That's literal hell.
I think we're at the very least we're in agreement. Dexter's dead as the credits roll of episode 10.
Yeah.
If I wasn't so scared, I was gonna playfully ask Scott, like, "Hey, are you ready to tell us that there's gonna be a season 2?" But I didn't feel. Scott was very fun, but I wanted to just be like, "Hey, break the news! It's gonna be a season 2, right?" But like, I was just like a little nervous.
Why should
and
he
scared.
would have you would have said that even like, oh, you got me in a mood. There is actually. Bam! Podcast explosion. There we are. We went to the real world.
I gotta tell you, there is, people have their theories, and there's a lot to think about and everything. And
there's so much out there.
I need like 2 days to step away from Dexter to get my mind straight. But there's a theory out there that if it happens, I think he gets my son, he gets my house, he gets my vehicle, he gets my wife, he gets everything I own, my PlayStation 5.
Ooh, the vehicle! You're throwing in the vehicle. I know you're serious.
That guy theory that Dexter dies from COVID. If that happens, that guy, I'll give you my address and just come take my house. Take everything.
We switch lives.
Yeah, you get everything from here. I have amazing color scent boosters for my laundry. You could have that. If Dexter dies from COVID,
that guy is actually somebody by the name of Scott.
There's so many little stuff. I'm just reading the chat. Yeah, there's a moment where Harrison about the safety, about the gun being on. That'd be funny if they Dexter and Harrison escape to Miami. Oh God, there's guys. We usually respond to the chat and we incorporate everything in, but obviously there was a lot going on with Scott here and everything. So apologies. I genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, love that you guys are having your own discussion while we're talking. It's just like I can't even describe why I like it. I think it's just like a creating a community, Yeah.
Well, and it's because there's such a big. You see the people in here. There's people that want different things from Dexter that I'm seeing in here and stuff like that. And I'm just like, obviously somebody's wrong, right? Somebody has to be wrong out of this entire discussion. Somebody's wrong somewhere, but everybody's having this great discussion, and everybody's being nice and respectful about it, and that's what I actually really like seeing.
Except
I really do.
Except that guy. Fuck that guy.
Except that guy.
Everyone else.
Fuck that guy.
You've been great. I gotta say, and then he put Dexter won't die of COVID. He will kill COVID and put pictures of all the people who died of COVID.
He has COVID tied down.
By all the spokes.
He has a knife. He has a knife made out of ivermectin, and he's just.
And there's just all millions of photos of everyone that died of COVID. R.I.P. By the way.
Oh my God.
On that note, oh God, I don't even know. Oh, I know what the final episode is called. God, everyone who's in the chat today, thank you. If you're listening to this episode, thank you. This has been a super long one. This is an hour and 22. I think this is going to be maybe, if I include the Scott Reynolds part, I think we're looking at a 2-hour podcast in one episode, which is by far the longest. But as I was saying in the chat, if I'm going to sit here and say this is my favorite episode, I want to give it justice, and I know I missed stuff, and I know I probably missed things that I wasn't supposed to and didn't bring up stuff, but like, this has been a lot. I thank you for joining me, Colton. I know you had problems on your end.
I can't apologize enough for that.
It honestly it worked out, but it's fine. We will all be here again next week to discuss the finale episode of New Blood, Sins of the Father. Oh, long ride to get here, and we're finally here. We're, think about when we were, whatever, doing episodes from season 6 and shit, and it's like, wow, we're finally we're actually at the end now. Now, if there's a season 2, I'm gonna become a lumberjack in Oregon and fake my identity. But this was awesome. Everyone in the chat, I wish I could I wish I could do a shot with everyone. We should all fucking do a shot next week. I fucking drank a beer on air since the first time I've done episodes
No, it's
with
been a
Colton.
long time since I've seen. Yeah.
I'm ready
Welcome
to do
to the
it.
club.
I'm ready to do it all again next week. Everyone, we will talk to you next week to discuss Sins of
y'all then.
the Father.
Can't wait.
Woo! Holy fuck, man. That was a marathon. That was
I can't imagine just how drained you are right now.
I told Marissa I've been running on fumes, and right now I still have to edit all this together. We have 2 different recordings. I have this. That's why I'm saying it's a good thing you weren't with the Scott thing, because I would have had to also edit that and fit you in at the right time. And it's like, you know what? We have part 1. We have part 2. I'm so tired. I don't even know. I'm gonna go pee, but I would like to talk to the chat, and then let me download your tracks.
Hopefully my audio is good because
You were clear.
I'm actually on my work computer. Isn't my backup computer? That's the thing. On my work one, I was like, fuck. I was like, I really don't want to use my work computer for something like this. But if I lose my job, then I lose my job.
People say in the chat, I'm gonna go pee, and I'll be right back.
I actually am too.
Holy shit, there's still 21 of you who's in here in the chat? Wow. Oh, man. The parents are gone party. I've been toying around with a few ideas of what I want to do after the episode, but if I'm being here now that Colton's here, I was just saying, starting talking to the chat, I kind of wanted to do something for everyone that joined us after the episode.
Yeah.
We'll figure something out, because I would like to, we
I would say I'd like to do a hangout session like we did
Mm-hmm.
one of the times, but at the same time I'm like, it's Sunday. I can't go till 2 a.m.
No, I know. And it would be it would have to be the next day or Tuesday, whatever, but who wants to hang out on a Monday at 10 p.m.? We'll figure something out. If we don't do it, it's honestly on my end, because I'm a little burnt out from doing this. I also have a lot going on in my life right now, as I'm sure fucking Colton does.
Mm-hmm.
guy only bought a.
Don't get me wrong. I don't. I'm burned out from doing podcasting for a little bit, but I don't. It's a weird thing. I don't hate it, and I definitely don't. The fans of this show, y'all are what's keeping us actually going. Like,
Yeah.
At least me.
This would
Like,
be
you're
this,
what's
this,
keeping me going.
this would have been hard to do if we did our traditional way of like just me and you, only
You
only our
picking to do
wives,
this streaming,
only our wives to yell
best
at.
thing ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I am so glad we were able to figure this out and have this, because now it's like it's just we turn everything on. Yeah, you're right, Jen. Maybe we'll take a week and maybe we'll have like a Saturday night session where we all hang out and drink. And
I've told you I've got an idea for a podcast that I'm kind of floating around in my head that it's another way instead of doing my original idea that's a lot more way more laxed, and I think it would be kind of fun with a live stream actually. So
we could do it. I'll set it up
but
and I'll give you.
I was like but I would take the lead on it. I need to figure out some of the stuff. Obviously I need to make sure my equipment's better. So I think Cole's gonna have to get a new computer for 2022.
Right. Everyone in the chat, thank you. I got to figure out a way to get everyone's emails, or maybe I'll just have you email. But one way or another, maybe I'll do a Zoom next Saturday after the episode. The finale is going to be on the 9th. Maybe we do something on the 15th of that week, or maybe even the 16th, the Sunday. I would prefer the Saturday. But let's figure something out, because
we could always do some. Maybe that's a thought to throw out there. Like Saturday after the finale comes out, we could log on for a non-recorded thing where we just do a live thing. Like whoever happened to watch it could chime in.
Are you talking like
thoughts.
next Saturday coming up?
No, like the next. Oh, I thought that's yeah. I thought that's what you were talking about. Like the next day coming up, we could do like a really fast, like a 15-minute one or something. But
There's two things for that. One, it will never be fast. Two.
That's true.
And two, by the time I get to watch it at 1 a.m., I have to go to sleep because Sundays are my day with the baby, and it's already enough.
No.
I am gonna lightly propose the 15th, which is the Saturday. The next Sunday is the last episode, January 9th. I'm gonna put a light date out there of January 15th. Let's set up for a Zoom. If you guys want me to record it, I will. I'd rather just talk and hang out and not have to host and everything. I'd rather just shoot the shit and talk to you guys, actually, not about the show.
I mean, we could even start by bringing up the show as like a real talking point at first. Like, hey, we've had a week to digest everything. Like, how's everyone feeling about it and stuff like that? And then just get into talking. Like, shit,
I actually really like that idea, and it just makes me feel good for, like, we sit here, people listen to our dumbasses talk and get names wrong and have wrong theories and all this shit, and it's like, yeah, everyone's in the chat with us, and it's like, it would be cool to like actually fucking see your faces and everything. So yeah, let's definitely plan on that. The 15th as a soft date. We got to get emails and shit. Awesome. I like that. Thank you. See, again, the chat fucking pulling through.
Uh-huh.
On that note, good night, everyone. I have an hour and change of editing ahead of me.
I'm all about it. Yep.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Colton. Yes, thank you. It's everyone. If you're in the chat right now, thank you. Except that guy. Fuck that guy. I'm going to put my finger in the camera. Fuck you. All right.
Yep, right.
Later, everyone.
Later.
Oh, my God.
Is it just us talking now?
Yeah.
There's no stream, no nothing.